was the best 10-gamer in 30 years as the Red Hot Fonz put the team on his back, and the Cubs went 8-2. Now the show moves to Houston, where you could say the same thing about Lance Berkman. Two offensive juggernauts. Next. We're in Houston, where outside a sizzler today. Temperatures reaching the low 90s, but inside Minute Maid Park, very comfortable room temperature. Roof is closed, and we're set for Cubs baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet. The Cubs open up a 6-game road trip here in Houston, and let's check in on the standings. The Cubs right now are 2 games up on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Astros have won 12 of their last 16. They're 5 games over and just 2.5 out in the division. Welcome to Cubs baseball tonight. Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you, and this should be a great matchup of superstar caliber players. Lance Berkman and Alfonso Soriano, the 2 hottest hitters in the game right now.
Yeah, if you talk to people here in Houston, they'd say Berkman's the hottest hitter. If you talk to Cub fans or us, we're going to say Soriano's the hottest hitter in baseball. However you slice it, both these guys are in the midst of a hot streak, the likes of which you probably won't see again the rest of the summer.
The amazing thing about it, Bob, is that Lance Berkman's hitting .399. He's not even leading the National League in hitting. That's because Chipper Jones is at .410.
Well, Chipper Jones is not here for the next 3 days. These are the 2 guys that everybody's going to be watching. The numbers are scarily similar. The only real difference is Lance Berkman over those 10 games has drawn 6 base on balls. Soriano only 1.
And as we talk about the starting pitchers, they're going to try to avoid those 2 guys. It'll be Ted Lilly, who is in his best stretch of the year. He's won 3 straight. And veteran right-hander Brian Moeller, who's filling in for left-hander Wandy Rodriguez, will get the start for Houston.
Ted Lilly's been throwing extremely well over the last month. You see his numbers. Brian Moeller, a crafty veteran. He'll invent pitches out there on the mound as he sees fit.
So it's game 1 of this 3-game series, and coming up, left-hander Ted Lilly will make his 4th career start against the Astros. He's 1-1 versus Houston. Cubs baseball is next. Houston, a nice night. No problem with the weather because we are indoors. It was pretty hot today. That's not a problem. It was very cold in Chicago yesterday. And the Cubs starting a 6-game road trip, 3 here in Houston. Off day in Pittsburgh on Thursday, and then 3 against the Pirates starting on Friday. So right-hander Brian Moeller gets ready to work. Wandy Rodriguez is on the disabled list for the Astros with a groin injury. Could be back by the end of this month. Moeller filling in the meantime. And let's check in on the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Alfonso Soriano will try to keep his 6-game leadoff hit streak alive. Ryan Theriot hit second. Lee and Ramirez went 0 for combined in the Pirates series, but the Cubs still won 2 of 3. Fukudome and right. Soto catching. Jim Edmonds gets his first start since Thursday. DeRosa bats 8. How about that? And Ted Lilly 9.
Well, somebody has to hit 8. Let's take a look at the Astros defensively behind Brian Moeller tonight. Cub killer Carlos Lee out in left field. Michael Bourne, the speedster, out in center. Hunter Pence playing right field tonight. Ty Wigginton at third base. Miguel Tejada at shortstop. Kazuo Matsui at second base. Lance Berkman over at first. The catcher today is the veteran Brad Osmus, and he'll be receiving the pitches from right-hander Brian Moeller. I mentioned he's a crafty guy out there on the mound. I had the pleasure of sitting over the shoulder of Mark DeRosa watching video of Moeller today. Tough to identify a lot of his pitches. He'll sink his fastball. He'll cut his fastball. Change speeds on his breaking pitches. He'll do what he has to do.
Ed Hickox will work the plate. C.B. Buckner at first. The crew chief is Country Joe West out at second. Ed Rapuano is at third. Country Joe has a new CD out.
I heard that.
Yeah, I know you're going to plop that right on your iPod.
Somewhere.
Here's Soriano to start it. See the sun coming through out to the west. A lot of glass on that wall. In left, fly ball to right. And it's Hunter Pence to make the catch. So the Soriano leadoff hit streak ends at 6 games.
I mentioned Brian Moeller, a very crafty pitcher. He'll do what he has to do, sink it, add a little, subtract a little. He, at this point, basically a 5-inning pitcher. As Len mentioned, this is only his third start rather, with the Astros, filling in for Wandy Rodriguez. So 5 innings is probably about as much as Cecil Cooper can expect from his right-hander.
Here's Ryan Theriot. He had yesterday off. Ronnie Cedeno got the start. Lou feels like just about all the position players are well rested except for Derek Lee. And Derek may get Wednesday off depending on how he swings the bat in the first couple of games of this series. Michael Hoffpower possibly could get his first major league start in a couple of days. And with the off day Thursday, that would give Derek 2 full days before that Pirates series on Friday.
And Derek Lee joined a number of his teammates out here at the ballpark today for early hitting. I mean, normally you have early batting practice like that. It's the guys that are off the bench that don't get a lot of at-bats, don't get a lot of playing time, as Theriot fouls one out of play on the right side. But they had so many guys for extra hitting today. They had 3 groups of players for extra hitting. A lot of them were pitchers that came out, took the opportunity to swing the bat a little bit, but all the bench players plus Derek Lee out here taking early hacks today.
Really good numbers for Theriot against lefties as he breaks his bat. And Berkman will flip to Moeller. And Ryan hitting over 300 against lefties and righties. And here comes Lee. Derek and Aramis combined for 0 for 22 over the weekend.
Little cement mixer slider on the outside corner right there. Not a lot of break, but enough off speed and enough movement that it gets out on the very end of Theriot's bat, shattering it as he grounds out to Berkman down there at first base.
The Cubs yesterday against the Pirates had just 4 hits, but they took 7 walks against left-hander Phil DeMatre and used them to their advantage in a 4-3 win. Wind and the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball. That was a slider at 85. 1-1.
And when I talk about a cement mixer, I heard that term very early in my big league career. Didn't know what it meant. I was too afraid to ask anybody exactly what it meant. But a true slider spins like the barrel on the back of a cement mixer. It's more like the rotation you would see on a football rather than the rotation you're used to seeing on a baseball. A true slider will have a dot in the middle of the baseball the way the seams come together as it spins.
The 1-2 pitch got him looking. That was a fastball, and it was a pretty good pitch. Derek could not pull the trigger, and the Cubs go down in order. Ted Lilly to the mound when we come back to Houston. Now the Astros Southwest starting lineup. A lot of speed in this lineup. Michael Bourne starts it. He's tied for first in the National League with 18 stolen bases. Kaz Matsui, we did not see him in that Wrigley Field series in April. And we'll get the rest of the lineup here in a second as Bourne is ready to hit. And he takes ball 1 inside. Tejada, Berkman, Lee, very formidable in the middle. Pence hitting 6th. Wigginton, Ausmus, and Moeller at the bottom. Corner man in against Bourne. We'll say that a lot in this series. And a swing and a miss.
Yeah, against most of the hitters in this Astros lineup, you would like Ted Lilly to keep the ball down. But Michael Bourne, one guy you'd probably rather elevate the ball. You'd like him to hit it in the air.
Fisted foul.
Boy, especially if you can get any of the Astros hitters to hit the ball from the gap in left center field to the gap in right center field. A lot of room out there in straightaway center and in both gaps.
Ted works from the far third base side of the pitching rubber. It's even at 2-2. Ted looking to get over 500. He's at 4-4. He's won his last 3. And this is his 10th start of the year. A wind and the pitch. A ground ball to second base. DeRosa will throw to Lee in time to get Bourne 1 out.
Take a look at the rest of the Cubs defensively behind Ted Lilly. Soriano, Edmonds, and Fukudome across the outfield. Ramirez and Terrio on the left side. DeRosa and Lee on the right side. Geovany Soto doing the catching tonight for Ted Lilly. Our defense brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability.
Pretty consistent against the lefties and the righties, both hitting in the 240s. And now it's Kaz Matsui. Strike one. Matsui, a switch hitter, and he went to PL High School in Osaka, Japan with Kosuke Fukudome. High school in Japan, you go for 3 years. When Matsui was a senior, Fukudome was in his first year, or what would be the equivalent of his sophomore year. And on the baseball team, Matsui was a pitcher and Kosuke played third base. So they are playing against one another on a major league diamond for the first time. Matsui was out early in the season. He had surgery for an anal fissure in mid-March, and it's the last time hopefully we'll mention that operation. 3-1. The pitch. There's ball 4, and Matsui is aboard.
But it goes without saying that's something you do not want to do against this ball club, with Lance Berkman lurking down there in that 4-hole and that short porch in left field. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Crawford boxes repeatedly in this series. 315 straight down that left field line, the out-of-town scoreboard. You don't have to hit it much to get it up into those bleachers.
Miguel Tejada has kind of flown under the radar. He's hitting .344. But nobody's talking about the season he's had in his first year with the Astros. That's because the guy behind him's almost up at 400. Ball 1. Looking at their numbers, Bob, the Astros are a bit similar to the Pirates when you look at their offensive rankings. They're 5th in the majors in runs. They're only 11th in the National League in on-base percentage, 7th in slugging. So you look at some of the other numbers, and what you find is that they've hit with runners in scoring position. They're first in the National League, hitting .291 with men in scoring position. They have the fewest left on base in the National League. They don't ground into a lot of double plays, and they have a lot of speed. They're leading the major leagues in steals. DeRosa makes a catch. And they also hit some home runs, 49, which ranks 4th in the league. And here comes Berkman. It's been a while since he's been here in Houston. The Astros just completed a 10-game road trip at 7-3. And he gets a standing ovation.
To say that Lance Berkman is having a pretty good start to the season is an understatement. Our Menard's big lumber stats ranks 1st and 2nd in all those highly important offensive categories. Wow.
Matsui still at first, 2 outs in the inning. The kick and the pitch to Berkman, fouled back up near our booth.
You know, a key player for the Astros in this series may turn out to be the guy in the on-deck circle. I called him a Cub killer, Carlos Lee. 309 lifetime coming into this season against the Cubs. However, only 2 for 12 in the series against the Rangers leading up to this series. So when push comes to shove, he's going to be the guy that has to beat me.
Berkman with a 17-game hitting streak. He's hitting .545 during the streak. Here's the pitch by Lilly. Good rip. He fouled it back. 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, 23 runs during the streak. His on-base percentage .610. He's slugging over 1,000. Leads the majors at all those categories we showed you earlier. And he went 7 straight games without recording an out in consecutive at-bats. 6 guys since World War II to have 29 hits and 7 homers in any 7-game stretch. Unbelievable.
Well, the Cubs do have him on the side of the plate that you would prefer to have Lance Berkman hit from, the right side. He's very accomplished from either side of the plate, but conventional wisdom is from the right side he's a little more aggressive. He will chase some pitches out of the zone. Real good high ball hitter from the right side, good low ball hitter from the left side.
Lilly has the sign from Geovany Soto. Here he comes on a 1-2, fouled off. We often ask why pitchers would challenge Alfonso Soriano when he's in a hot streak. And you sit here and you may say the same thing about Lance Berkman. The one thing that I guess you always want to keep in mind is major league pitchers look at these situations as a huge challenge. They don't want to necessarily work around somebody. Terrio with good range, the flip to DeRosa. And the other thing you have to consider, even if Berkman's hitting 500, he still will make an out for every hit. He just made one there, and the inning's over, no score. Cecil Cooper, pretty mild-mannered manager. He got tossed twice in that series in Texas. Looked like the runner got in at the plate. He argued to the contrary, and this one he had a very good argument. Michael Bourne, you see the phantom tag there at second base. Bourne was called out. Angel Campos was the umpire at home plate Friday and at second base Sunday, and he tossed Cooper both times.
Yeah, Cecil told him, you're 2 for 2. You missed them both. That was enough to get him ejected.
Well, he's done a really nice job here in his first full season with the Houston Astros. There were some questions about the chemistry in the offseason. Lance Berkman made some comments about some of the guys who left and wondered if this could be a cohesive clubhouse. But their general manager, Ed Wade, you'd have to say so far, you give him pretty high marks for what the Astros have accomplished. Strike one on Aramis Ramirez as we begin inning number 2.
Well, I think you bring up a good point, Len, and I think something that maybe we undervalue in this game, the importance of the veteran leadership on a team. You know, for years, Bagwell and Biggio were undoubtedly the leaders of this club. Ramirez with a good start to the day. Lines one into the gap in right center for a base hit. I mean, you didn't have to worry about who the team leaders were. You knew who the team leaders were. Now, maybe a little bit of a different situation.
Here's the manager sticking up for his team. This was on Sunday. And usually when you refer to something 2 days earlier, that's going to get you tossed.
Oh, yeah.
Umpires will normally let you argue that call, but when you kind of go off the board a little bit, that's when you're going to get into trouble. I asked Kosuke, just for fun, if there's a ballpark in Japan that has the hill like they have here in center field. He said, nope, that's called Tal's Hill out in deep center. Now, he shouldn't have to worry about it as a defender playing right. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind hitting one up there as a hitter. There's Tal Smith, president of the Astros. That hill is named after him.
Boy, in the early going today, Ed Hickok's the home plate umpire, and neither right nor wrong, but not calling a lot of high strikes. Ted Lilly missed with several breaking balls up around the belt, couldn't get the call. First pitch to Fukudome was a fastball up around the belt, didn't get the call. I'll tell you, if you're a hitter, you love that. Especially if you're a low ball hitter. You just look for something down there where you want it, take everything else.
3-1 on Fukudome. You see the sun a little bit in his face right now, but where he's looking, the pitcher's mound, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I guess the only issue would be if he hits one deep to left, he might not know that it's out until the umpire says it's out.
Well, we're never really quite sure from up here in the press box. Once the ball gets above the wall out there in left center field and left field, gets up into that glass area, it's tough to tell where it goes.
Ramirez goes on a 3-2, and it's hit foul. You made a great point yesterday about Kosuke and his swing. He loves to hit the ball the other way, and he might be able to find those Crawford boxes.
Well, not only does he hit the ball the other way, but he drives the ball with authority to the other field, which is what you need to do as a left-handed batter if you want to reach that out-of-town scoreboard. Seems to get a lot of carry on balls that he hits to left center and straightaway left field.
Ramirez runs again, and what a snag by Lance Berkman. I'll tell you, his manager says that Berkman not only is hitting, he's been a great leader in the clubhouse, and he's played Gold Glove caliber defense at first base.
He's yet to make an error this year. We've seen him make a couple of nice plays in this ball game already. His range is shortened up because he's holding on to Aramis Ramirez over there at first base. That ball is on him in a heartbeat. Makes a nice backhanded pick.
I'm sure Berkman would tell you that it's a little easier for him now that he knows that he's a first baseman. He's a guy who in years past would be in left, would be in right. He knew he was going to be in the lineup, but most guys would tell you they'd rather just play one position. And right now he can do whatever he wants. If he walked in and told Cecil Cooper, I want to lead off, the manager would probably do it. Soto bounces it toward the hole at short. Tejada will make the long throw. Aramis holding at second. 2 away in the inning. What a homestand. The Cubs for the first time in 30 years on a 10-game homestand won 8.
Take that every time. No question about it. Team was just slugging the ball, pitching well enough to win the games. I think that's probably the easiest way to put it. We didn't see a lot of gems on the homestand from the pitching staff, but they pitched well enough to give the team a chance to win the way they were swinging the bats.
Well, a few boo birds when Jim Edmonds was announced. Jim made his Cubs debut on Thursday against San Diego and went 1 for 4. And he did not appear in that series against the Pirates. Kind of a chance to get settled in. Know which way to go to get to the home clubhouse. And he's ready to go, and he could start all 3 here in Houston.
Well, if he wasn't in the lineup tonight, there ought to be an investigation. I mean, granted, a right-handed pitcher on the mound, but great career numbers against Moeller. A .344 lifetime average with 5 home runs. But listen to this. In his last 5 plate appearances, double, homer, 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 and a walk. And believe me, hitters know when they've got good career numbers against an opposing pitcher, and they expect to be in the lineup.
A lot of home runs versus Houston, and the 5 homers and the 10 RBIs against Moeller, the most of any opponent against the Astros righty. Caught the outside corner, and it's now 1-2 on Edmonds.
I don't think Edmonds was particularly enamored with that last called strike. Appeared to be up and away. The conditions are not the greatest right now. I don't know how much it affects the hitter. I don't know how much it affects the home plate umpire, but certainly there's a lot of sunny areas, a lot of shaded areas.
And Aramis will hit down to third as that pitch got by Ausmus. Yeah, if it's very sunny, or if it's not, that's fine. But if it's a little bit of each, that's when sometimes you have those vision problems. And considering we're indoors, you would expect the conditions to be perfect, but they're not. And when we go to Milwaukee, it's kind of the opposite. They have the glass panels down along the first base line.
They need to get some great big levelers, you know, and close them when the sun is the way it is right now, and then open them up later when the sun goes down.
Kind of like that thing you put on your windshield.
Yeah, that'll work. Sunscreen.
Carlos Lee in left, and Ramirez stranded at third base. We played an inning and a half from Houston. 0-0. Lilly versus Lee. 1 ball, no strikes, and as you said, Carlos Lee may become the big key in this series for the Astros batting behind Lance Berkman, and you always want to face Carlos Lee to start an inning or with 2 outs and nobody on.
And Ted Lilly has had some good success against El Caballo in the past.
It's a foul ball. It was picked up by Soto in foul territory.
Carlos Lee 3 for 19 lifetime against Ted Lilly. That's a 158 batting average, including 1 for his last 11. So as I said earlier, this is a guy that's going to have to prove to me that he can do some damage. I'm going to take the bat out of Lance Berkman's hand whenever possible.
You go 3, 4, 5 in any order in baseball, and the Cubs are very good in that spot. But look at the Astros and the RBI totals in particular.
I'll give you another look at that. 31 RBIs for Carlos Lee, 34 for Tejada, and 44 for Lance Berkman, all hitting for high averages, all capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
A fly ball to right. Kosuke's on the move, and he'll put it away. The Cubs are a little different when you look at their lineup. If you just put Soriano, for instance, for Fukudome, they'd have more home runs and more RBIs. But the Cubs use Soriano as their leadoff hitter.
Well, for that matter, if you slid Geovany Soto up to the 5 spot,
sure,
he would have a lot more RBIs and home runs than Fukudome. But I like the balance that the Cubs have in their lineup. They've got guys at the top of the order, obviously, that can do damage. The guys in the middle certainly have done their share of damage this year and in the past. And unlike years past, they've got some guys at the bottom that can hurt you.
Hey, no complaints. This team is leading the majors in runs. A very patient team, and you could almost look at it like Fukudome is your second leadoff hitter. Get those guys on, Lee and Ramirez knock them in, then you start over with Kosuke.
It's a good way to look at it. 2 4-man lineup. Soriano leading off for the first group and Fukudome leading off for the second group.
Kids at home, you might not want to do everything the way Hunter Pence does it, but he gets it done. He's got a lot of energy. There's a little Eric Burns going on.
Yeah, he's almost out of control at times, especially on the defensive side.
But you do, as a baseball player, you look at him and you like his enthusiasm.
Well, I think there's a place on every team for one of those high energy guys. You know, he's not afraid to dive head first into first base to try to beat out an infield hit. Take a funny swing like that with 2 strikes just to protect the plate.
Ted with his first. He'll need 9 more to make it 3 straight starts with double digits in strikeouts.
Well, you can see Soto was sitting way up high behind home plate, and Ted Lilly threw that ball pretty much right down the middle of the plate. Very defensive swing from Pence.
Now Ty Wigginton with 2 gone and nobody on. And he turns on one and hits it foul and out of play.
Very nearly caught the rafters there with that pop up into foul territory. Now how about this? Ryan Dempster says that he hit a foul ball that went up into the rafters and never came down during a ball game.
Huh.
I said, is it still up there? He said, I don't know. I have no reason not to believe him. It's just on the verge of unbelievable. That is way up there.
Any ball that hits the roof in fair territory is in play. Lined right at Soriano. Actually had to jump to make the catch. That ball really took off on him. Wigginton hit it well, but it's just a hard hit out. After 2, no score. On Monday, May 26th, the Cubs host the Dodgers at Wrigley Field. Game time is 1:20. It's Memorial Day, but be sure to arrive early. The first 7,500 fans will receive a Cubs Golf Club cover, compliments of Fisher Nuts. A lot of Cub fans here in Texas. We are deep in the heart of Texas, in case you were wondering. And they will remind us of that in the 7th inning.
Yes, indeed they will. Always There's great hospitality here at Minute Maid Park in Houston. The ushers, the people that work in the press box, the people down on the field before the ball game, very hospitable.
Here's the man with the blog, Mark DeRosa, MLBblogs.com. He has now called his blog The Pulse. He said, quote, which is something my teammates have called me for the last 2 years. Good stuff. He writes, everything goes through me. My teammates know it. The fans see the superstars and all this stuff. I'm the glue, baby. I'm the guy who floats from the #1 man to the 25th man. I'm somewhere in the 15-13 range. I'm the bell curve. That's Mark DeRosa. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you need one of those guys on the team too. I mean, we've talked about needing leadership. You need high energy guys. You need some guys that are totally under control, very focused, very prepared. And then you need that guy that is the glue that kind of brings all the disparate groups together.
Fouled off the mask of the catcher, Ausmus. Still 1-2. Now a hitting streak is a hitting streak, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, Mark DeRosa's hitting .452 during his 9-gamer. It's not quite Alfonso Soriano's .525, but it's still pretty good. Kind of lost in the shuffle.
Kind of like Tejada for the Astros.
Yeah. Just missed. 2-2.
I'll tell you, if I'm a hitter in this ball game, and I'm not saying this to pick on Ed Hickox because his strike zone is what it is, but he is not calling any borderline pitches up, down, in, or out. And when you have a plate umpire that calls a strike zone that tight, until you get to 2 strikes, you can afford to be extremely selective.
The payoff pitch pounded on the ground, foul near Mike Quaddy, the Cubs third base coach. A lot has been made of DeRosa's home and road splits. He's hitting .402 at Wrigley Field, just a .132 on the road. He's 7 for 53 away from home, but he's hoping this hot streak continues on this trip. Another 3-2. He reaches out, and Wigginton will cut it off at third base. Close it out. 1 out in the inning, and here comes Ted Lilly. Hey, Cubs fans, Cubs games are now on Comcast Sportsnet on demand. Comcast customers go to digital channel $9.99. Then look for Comcast Sportsnet. Watch Cubs games on demand. Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Cubs games on demand, not available in all areas. Ted off to a really good start at the plate. He's a career .128 hitter, but he's 3 for 13. Make it 4 for 14. He ran really hard out of the box. He did not want to suffer the embarrassment of getting thrown out at first base.
Well, you see it happen all the time with pitchers, especially guys who aren't used to getting a lot of base hits. When you hit that ball hard to right field, especially if you have an alert, strong throwing right fielder and a first baseman that is aware of it, I've seen a number of pitchers get thrown out at first base on base hits to right field. I guess it couldn't be a base hit to right field if they were thrown out, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yep.
One hopper right at that right fielder. He charges hard, scoops and throws, and if the first baseman's on the bag, you better be hustling.
Now the reigning National League Player of the Week, Alfonso Soriano. Strike 1. Seven homers in his last 7 games. In the air, this could be trouble, and it's going to drop foul. As Berkman made a good effort, but couldn't come up with it. Cub fan ended up with that souvenir.
When you got a hot hitter like Soriano at the plate, everybody is ready to dive into the stands to try to make a catch just to retire him, and don't make your pitcher pitch to him anymore in this at bat. A good move here by Brad Ausmus, the veteran catcher. He knows that his superstar first baseman had to run a long way in a short period of time to try to corral that foul ball, so he went out to the mound for a visit just to give him a little breather.
Runner at first, 1 out. We're in the 3rd inning, still waiting for the first run. The kick and the pitch. It's up a little bit. Good eye by Alfonso. You really have to think teams are going to try to expand that strike zone, considering how hot he's been. It's going to be a challenge for him to lay off bad pitches. Said the Pirates were not throwing him many good pitches to hit after his first 2 at-bats yesterday, and he was a bit too aggressive.
Well, and that selectivity has been part of the reason he's been on the ridiculous streak that he's been on. I mean, he's always been a free swinger, and he always will be a free swinger, but he's not chasing a lot of the pitches that he went after in that first week off the disabled list, like that one.
You would doubt Lilly will be running. A strikeout candidate at the plate, and it's a slicing drive to right, caught by Pence. Lilly was not running, and he's still at first base. 2 outs as Soriano has flied out both times to right, and it's Ryan Theriot for the 2nd time. He grounded out his first time.
And you mentioned Soriano with 7 home runs in his last 7 ball games. On this date in baseball history, back in 1968, big Frank Howard's streak came to an end. Hit 10 homers in 7 games.
He could hit him a long way.
Oh, Hondo. Ooh. And another home run streak started on this day back in 1956. Dale Long of the Pittsburgh Pirates hit a home run against the Cubs in the 9th inning. It was the first of what would be 8 consecutive games with a home run.
1-1 on Ryan Theriot. I know you know this, but 98 years ago, Cy Young won his 500th on May 19th. 500th. In 1910.
Sticking with the theme of home runs on this day in baseball history, back in '02, Cub fans will remember this. Fred McGriff hit a home run against the Brewers up at Miller Park. That made 40 major league ballparks that the crime dog had homered in, tying a record held by Ellis Burks. That's why I played in the American League in 1989. I signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays so I could try to work my way around the American League. I only got 1 ballpark though. Old County Stadium in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Mark Knudsen, right?
Yes, indeed. Ruined his career.
That was not a great home run park, especially in the gaps. Little 1 bouncer to Matsui at 2nd base. Theriot makes the 3rd out. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Starting pitchers controlling this one so far: Ausmus, Moeller, and Bourne coming up. The Cubs battle the Dodgers Tuesday, May 27th. Game time 6:05. But be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will get an exclusive limited edition Kosuke Fukudome bobblehead doll. Compliments of Pepsi. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Ted Lilly to Brad Ausmus. Strike 1. Ausmus getting his 15th start. J.R. Tolles has started 30 contests.
And Ausmus finds himself in a similar situation to Henry Blanco. I mean, Ausmus plays a little more than Henry, but besides going behind the plate and helping his team win games, his primary duty is to tutor young J.R. Tolles what it takes to be a major league catcher, the kind of things you need to do on a daily basis to help your pitchers and contribute with that bat.
Ausmus is 9th on the all-time games caught list. This is game 1,830 behind the plate. A 1-2 on the way, and he hits it high in the air down the left field line. Terrio went way out, but Soriano's going to make the catch. I'll tell you, if Ryan had kept on going, he would have gotten to where Soriano was. That's a long run for a shortstop, but why not? Just in case.
Well, this ballpark, in a lot of respects, plays very similar to Fenway Park in Boston because of the out-of-town scoreboard, the proximity to home plate. I was talking to Mike Quaddy about it before the game, and it does present some challenges for a third base coach on a ball hit to left field. The guy just doesn't play as deep as he would in a normal ballpark. The throw is much shorter. You've got to be really sure that that base runner coming around second and around third is going to be able to score because of the short throw by the left fielder. Now from left center around to right center, yeah, you're pretty safe out there. A lot of room. It's going to take a long throw to the cutoff man and then a long throw from the cutoff man to home plate.
I'll tell you, this park was criticized a little bit when they opened it because of how short it is out and left, and they actually moved the yellow line you see in left center over the bullpen. They moved it up. It used to be a lot lower than it is now. But I like this park because other than pretty much straightaway left, it's a challenge to hit the ball out, and there is a lot of room, as you mentioned, from gap to gap, and it's 436 to straightaway center. So basically it's a lopsided outfield, but I like that. It's very quirky. Swing and a miss by Moeller. And what it tells you, Bob, if you're the Astros, you have to be careful about how many left-handed starters you have.
No question about it. And I think it really puts a premium on pitchers who can execute their pitches, hit their spots. And because of the dimensions out in left center, center, and right center, if you have a pitcher who's able to work away effectively to right-handed hitters, get them to hit it to the big part of the ballpark, you can have success in this ballpark. But if you miss your spot too often from the middle of the plate into right-handed hitters or the middle of the plate away to lefties who go to the opposite field, you can give up some cheap home runs down that left field line.
Two 2-0 on Michael Bourne. You know, Ted does not want to walk Bourne. They would probably try to steal second base. Caught by Derek Lee. That would have been a double at least for Bourne. And that's the third out. That was a rocket off the bat of Michael Bourne. Couple of nice defensive plays by the first baseman in this ball game. Still scoreless after 3. Trivia time. Which pitcher holds the Astros record for most strikeouts in a season? Is this a trick question?
Well, I know the name that immediately jumps to mind, so it must be a trick question.
Okay. You would want to say Nolan Ryan, but I have a feeling that is not the answer. Here's Derek Lee at a big series against the Astros in April. 7 for 11 with 2 home runs as the Cubs won 2 of 3. I tell you, I'm going to go with J.R. Richard. That's my guess.
That's another good guess.
Moeller's 0-1 is hit on the end of the bat foul. Derek took a called third on a fastball in the first inning. Coming off a 171 homestand. Mike Scott. He's number 33. Get off me ball. And up and in. Derek was able to fight it off, but he flies out to left. He made a great catch to end. the third inning.
Well, saving extra bases, a sure double if that gets over his head with Michael Bourne's speed, possibly a triple. Both first basemen have been tested often here in the early going.
Ramirez with a single in the second. Snapped an 0 for 10 with that base hit. 1 ball, no strikes. The Astros might be holding their breath a little bit with regard to their ace, Roy Oswalt. He has an injury. He says it's near the hip, not the groin. The groin was the original diagnosis, and he was taken out in the 7th on Saturday. And there was a miscommunication regarding the injury. Oswalt said he told the Astros coaching staff after the 6th that he thought he should come out, but they had him go back out to start that inning. Cecil Cooper called it a misunderstanding, and I guess he threw today and felt okay. But they don't want to be without him for any length of time. He got off to a slow start, but then started to become the Roy Oswalt of old. The 2-1 pitch, big swing by Aramis. He fouled it back off the netting. Oswalt, by the way, is 4-4 with a 5.43 earned run average in 10 starts. But he lost his first 3 and had an ERA of 9. So it has basically gone down just about every start since then.
You know, which is what you would expect for Roy Oswalt and a lot of other veteran pitchers who get off to a slow start to the season. I mean, unless they have physical problems, you assume that at some point they're going to figure it out.
Another foul pop. And Aramis will get another chance.
And we've been talking a lot about the dimensions and the quirks here at Minute Maid Park, and you really think about it, the Astros probably have exactly the kind of defensive outfield you need to have in this ballpark. Speed not a necessity in left field. You don't really have to have a strong throwing arm in left field, but you definitely need speed in center and right. And with Bourne in center and Pence in right, they've got speed to burn.
Clubbed foul off the railing, and it hit the foul pole, but it's not a home run. Wouldn't that be something? They gave that carom to you.
Tough to keep it fair once it gets down into that left and right field corner. The stands come way out near the foul line. You see that ball hits right off the railing and then ricochets up into the stands.
I'm not sure where that ball went. I thought it actually hit the foul pole after it hit the railing, but maybe I'm seeing things. Wouldn't be the first time. Another 2-2 and another foul. Good battle. Pitch count now up to 55 for Moeller.
Well, at this rate, 5 innings may be a little bit of a stretch for Brian Moeller if the Cubs can continue to put together lengthy at bats, maybe take a couple of base on balls along the way.
Another 2-2. Hey, another foul.
Just about every pitch in this sequence from the middle of the plate away to Aramis Ramirez. We saw Derek Lee pop up on a fastball that ran up and in. Usually Moeller will only come inside for effect, just to set up the next pitch. He's going to try to get all the Cubs right-handed hitters out away in this series. In this game, rather. He's not going to pitch every game of the series, just tonight. Should be the slider once again away. Just off the plate. Not a lot of break on that slider. I mentioned earlier, I watched some video with Mark DeRosa this afternoon, and they're having trouble identifying all of his pitches because his slider doesn't always take that down and away break. Sometimes it'll stay flat. Occasionally, it will even back up a little bit. There's a cut fastball, a sinking fastball, a four-seam fastball, a changeup. We haven't seen the curveball yet in this game.
3-2, pounded on the ground, and passed to Hada. Good at bat for Aramis. He's 2 for 2.
That was another thing Mike Quade mentioned about this playing surface. Extremely fast, not only in the infield, but in the outfield. Hard hit topspin ground balls are really going to scoot through the grass, and the dirt is very hard on top of it. Ramirez just tomahawks this ball, gets on top, hits a hard ground ball toward the hole, and Tejada can't get over there in time. This is where your spray charts, your defensive charts really come into play. On a fast playing surface, you better be positioned properly, because you're not going to have a lot of time to make up ground on hard hit grounders.
Runner at first, 1 out. Breaking ball outside. Brian Moeller was a 6th round pick of the Detroit Tigers out of North Carolina Greensboro back in 1993. He won the Tigers' final game ever at Tiger Stadium, 1999. You may remember that season. Moeller was suspended for 10 games for illegally defacing the ball. Now, I don't know how you feel about it as a former catcher, but when hitters are caught with a corked bat, they really get criticized. But yeah, when a pitcher scuffs the ball, it's almost like people go, good for you. Now, I'm not trying to stir it up, but it doesn't seem to be quite even, does it?
It really doesn't. And I've noticed, I'm glad you brought that up, because a number of Cubs hitters, as they've come up to the plate to take their at bat, have asked the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, to check the baseball. Now, on a couple of instances, it was when a ground ball was hit through the infield, and the hitter just wanted to make sure there wasn't a big scuff on the baseball before the at bat started. But when you have a history of doing that, it doesn't hurt to check that ball periodically throughout the game. Oh, and the Astros have had some guys who are known to carve up baseball from time to time. Not accusing Moeller of anything. Haven't seen anything unusual in any of his pitches up to this point.
Well, that opens a big debate on what constitutes cheating. Sign stealing, corked bats, scuffing the ball. If you can get away with it, is it okay?
Well, there's a saying in a lot of clubhouses around baseball: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I mean, it's a tough game to be good, tough game to win consistently, and some pitchers have taken that to heart. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
3-2 on Fukudome, and Moeller assumes Ramirez is going to be running.
Rami, not normally a guy you would think about starting on a 3-2 count, only 1 out, but because Fukudome makes such good contact at the plate and has such a good eye for the zone, I think this is one time you may go ahead and get him moving over there at first base.
Kosuke with a big hole there on the right side. Aramis does run. It's ball 4. Good deep at bats here in the 4th inning. And here's Soto. I talked to his former minor league manager, Mike Quade, before the game, and I asked him, how do you explain the sudden surge in power the last 2 years for Soto? And that started last year, as he had an MVP season at AAA, and Mike said, you know, as strange as it is to say, he swings harder now. You pointed out on several occasions this year that he has lost the handle on his bat. He has swung so hard. He's always had a good eye at the plate, but his career high in the minor leagues prior to 2007 in home runs was 9 in 2004. He hit 29 if you combine his AAA and major league numbers last year. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball outside.
I think back to Ryne Sandberg at the beginning of his career and Jim Fry telling him, hey, you're a good hitter. You've got quick hands. You've got a good eye for the strike zone. You could hit more home runs. You can be as good as you want to be in this game. And kind of a similar circumstance to Geovany Soto. Not comparing him to Ryne Sandberg yet, but
there's a deep drive left center field. Michael Bourne already back at the warning track. I think it's gone. I think that ball is gone. Now they're saying it's in play. I thought it was to the right of the yellow line. As it is, Soto's going to come all the way around. Might be a homer anyway. It is! Inside the park home run! So the Cubs won't need to argue that call. What a play! Can you believe that?
wow.
A 3-run inside the park home run. Now what's Cecil Cooper going to come out and ask? Is he going to say it should have been a home run anyway? What can he argue?
I don't know. I'll tell you, from here, it looked like that ball definitely hit above and to the right there of that yellow line. Right there. Whew. It looks like it's to the right. I mean, that should be a home run anyway. Our Belvedere home run replay, you determine that should have been a home run, but Geovany Soto showing his wheels.
It's better the way it worked out.
Yeah, we like it that way. It's a better story.
A catcher with an inside the park home run. That's the most exciting play in baseball right there, folks. I wonder what Cecil Cooper is arguing. I can't imagine. I mean, what's the point?
I don't really understand what he's out there for myself. I mean, the thing starts with a beautiful swing on a slider that didn't break. Absolutely crushes that ball to left center field. And good for Gio. Came out of the box running, or rather Ramirez had to wait and see what was going to happen. Fukudome right on his heels. He was going to score easily, but look who's coming around behind him. Geovany Soto hustling out of the box, gets himself an inside the park 3-run homer.
Now it appears on the replay that it was slightly to the right of the yellow line, but if it hits the yellow line, it's not out. So it was very, very, very close. But the carom helped him out, and that is his 9th home run.
I think he'll remember that one more than the last 8. Look how far this ball gets away from Michael Bourne, who tried to climb the wall, gets out into deep center field and dives. And there's that long relay throw I was talking about from straightaway center field.
I don't know if we ever saw Hunter Pence go into the camera shot on that play.
I'm not sure what direction he went. Normally on a ball hit the left center field, a right fielder would move toward the infield somewhere to maybe help back up a play at second base. But that ball caromed all the way back into straightaway center field, and Pence was nowhere to be seen.
3-0 Cubs. Well, I'm very curious, and we could find out after the game or maybe before the game tomorrow what Cecil Cooper was arguing.
Watch Gio out of the batter's box. He's not a fast runner, but he's running hard. He didn't assume anything out of the batter's box, and that gives him the opportunity right here to leg out an inside the park home run.
And he didn't have to slide. Took him 16.5 seconds to get all the way around the bases, and he didn't even have to get dirty.
It's going to take him 16.5 minutes to catch his breath.
Well, it goes back to this ballpark, another quirk of the park. And you just don't normally see things like that. Jim Edmonds serves that one out into the gap. Bourne will get over to cut it off to keep Edmonds to a single. I mean, how many parks would even present that opportunity?
And the only other one that jumps to mind immediately is out in San Francisco, Alphabet Park, for lack of a better term. It changes names all the time. Jim Edmonds, before whacking that single into left center field, fouls one off his right ankle. Yeah, but That ballpark in San Francisco, especially in right center field, you've got a lot of quirky angles, a lot of different surfaces on the wall, and you can see some funny things there too.
DeRosa goes to left. Edmonds doesn't seem to be running that well. He makes a big turn around second. He's going to hold there. And Mark O'Neill, the Cubs head athletic trainer, is going to come out and check on him. Lou Piniella as well. Jim Edmonds almost walked to second base.
Definitely favoring that right ankle, that right shin area where he fouled the ball. Has trouble stopping right there, getting back to second base. Trying to walk it off now. I mean, what eventually will happen with that, if it hasn't already, you get an egg-sized knot on your ankle or your shin area that fills up with blood as the gravity works on your body. Obviously everything goes down that direction toward your feet, and especially when you're standing out there in the outfield or running the bases in that area, it will just get bigger and bigger. Eventually he'll start feeling his heartbeat. I'm sure Mark O'Neill is hoping right now to get Jim Edmonds back in that dugout as quickly as possible so they can put some kind of a pressure wrap on that area and hopefully keep the swelling down and allow Jim Edmonds to continue in this ball game.
Still only one out in the inning. The last 5 Cubs have reached base.
Boy, due in no small part to the lengthy at bats the Cubs have had early in this inning.
Bunted by Lilly. Fair ball. Ausmus picked it up. I'm assuming he picked it up on purpose in fair territory, knowing that he could get the out at first. And here's Soriano with 2 outs.
And I'm assuming also that's some home field knowledge right there. Brad Ausmus probably realized from past bunts down that third base line that that ball was going to stay fair, so he went ahead and scooped it up and took the sure out at first base. Run, Ted, run. See, initially he was going to let it go foul, but as I said, from seeing a number of bunts down that third base line in his career here at Minute Maid Park, he knew it was not going to roll into foul territory, so he scooped it up, got the out at first base.
Well, first base is open, but Soriano is 0 for 2. We'll see how Moeller approaches the Cubs leadoff hitter. Runners at second and third. 3-0. Geovany Soto with an inside the park 3-run homer.
I think we're going to see an attempt by Moeller here at an unintentional intentional walk. They're probably not going to give Soriano anything good to hit in this sequence. Try to get him to chase some bad pitches. If not, they'll go ahead and put him on. First fastball was high and away out of the zone. That one low and away out of the zone. Now they're going to go ahead and walk him intentionally. You may ask yourself, why didn't they just walk him intentionally to begin with? Well, Soriano has that reputation of expanding his own strike zone, especially with runners in scoring position. So you throw a couple pitches out of the zone, hope to get him to chase. If he doesn't, you go ahead and walk him. If he chases the first couple pitches, then maybe you go ahead and go after him.
Fonzie's a sort of hitter who actually could make some good contact on a pitch that isn't near the strike zone. It's like Vladimir Guerrero. You can't, I don't think, unintentionally walk him. He'll swing at anything. Little dribbler to second base. Berkman had to race back to first as Matsui fielded that ground ball, and Moeller gets out of the inning. But it was all about Geovany Soto. The stars aligned on this play. We thought it might have been out, but it was more fun that they called it not a home run. He ended up with a home run inside the park style. 3-0 Cubs. Holds the Astros record for most strikeouts in a single season. A lot of good choices. J.R. Richard with 313 in 1979.
I never had the pleasure or displeasure of facing J.R. Richards, but I played with and against a lot of guys who did, and he was a scary pitcher.
Well, we mentioned all those names: Richard, Scott, and Ryan.
J.R. Richards is also on the list a couple of times with the Astros for most walks in a season. He was could be very erratic. Let's just put it that way.
Well, the Cubs just batted around in the top of the 4th inning. Geovany Soto with the first inside the park home run from a catcher in the majors since Joe Mauer did it on July 21st for the Twins last season. And here's an 0-2, a swing and a miss. Kaz Matsui strikes out. And you had one inside the park home run in your career. Tell us about it.
Well, it was up in Montreal at Old Olympic Stadium, and if I remember correctly, Tim Raines was playing center field, and the Hawk, Andre Dawson, was playing right field. I hit a line drive kind of in the gap, and Raines came over to try to make a shoestring catch, and just as the ball got close to his glove, he kicked the back of his own glove. It shot on that AstroTurf all the way over into the right field corner, kind of rolled around the warning track, and was actually coming back toward home plate as Dawson got over to pick up the ball. A relay throw to home. Gary Carter tried to block the plate. I went in head first, which I tell people never to do, but it was more of a stumble into home plate than a slide into home plate, and I was called safe.
Do as I say, not as I did.
That's right. I didn't do it.
How did you feel?
Yeah,
Were you just dead tired?
I was gassed. I mean, I'm not complaining, but that was the end of the best week I ever had in the major leagues. I was on base 3 or 4 times every ball game, National League Player of the Week for the week, and that was like the end of my season right there. The rest of the year was very uneventful after that inside the park homer. I think it took everything I had left.
Well, let's just hope that doesn't happen to Geovany Soto, who just hit his 9th home run. He went out to chat with Ted Lilly, where he gets ready for a 2-0 offering to Miguel Tejada. And here it is. Sliced foul and into the seats down the right field line.
And I swear on that inside the parker, Jim Davenport, longtime great Giants third baseman, was coaching third base that day, and I swear as I rounded third base, he was waving me and laughing at the same time.
2-1 pitch is low, 3-1. Tejada's just 3 out of 25 in his career against Ted Lilly.
Well, this is an exciting moment for a third base coach to look at Mike Quaddy's eyes going, come on, Gio, come on, you can do it. Scores without a slide. That's awesome.
Rip kill. Rattle around in the corner as Soriano will pick it up. It's the first hit of the night for the Astros, a 1-out double by Miguel Tejada.
Boy, that ball was hit extremely hard. Fortunately for the Cubs, he didn't get much elevation, just a rocket line drive down into that left field corner. I think we're going to see a very similar at bat here that we saw from Alfonso Soriano back in the top half of the 4th inning. Cubs have a base open down there at first base. One of the hottest hitters in the league at the plate. Ted Lilly probably throw a couple pitches trying to get him to chase, which Berkman rarely does. And then you may end up seeing an intentional base on balls.
He would rather not walk him because Carlos Lee is on deck. Tejada is going to steal third without a play. That was all on Ted Lilly. Tejada's now 3 of 6 on the year.
And you can see how he got a moving lead, anticipating that Lilly was not going to look back at second base a second time, and Tejada guessed right.
Ted will still be in the stretch. A 1-strike count on Berkman. The pitch. I guess it missed. 1-1.
You know, sometimes our camera angle can play tricks with you a little bit out there. Where tonight we're situated just to the left field side of straightaway center, but I'm not sure where that one is. Especially coming from a left-handed pitcher, his arm starts from the first base side, and even if that ball was a little bit off the inside corner, you have to believe it crossed the plate in the strike zone.
The kick and the 1-1 hit foul. See third base coach Ed Romero in the foreground with Miguel Tejada behind him. And on the hand, still 1-2. I love the quote by Lance Berkman. In the Houston Chronicle, he actually said he expects to be hitting like he is now. And while that sounds a little preposterous for a guy who's basically been hitting over 500 here lately, that's probably how most good hitters feel. When they're in a stretch like this, they say to themselves, this is how I should feel, as he swings and misses. And how about Berkman is 0 for 2. He has actually made 2 outs, and that's a big strikeout for Lilly with a runner at third. And it'll bring up Carlos Lee.
Well, we mentioned it before. Berkman a little more aggressive from the right side of the plate. He doesn't take nearly as many walks as a right-handed hitter, and that time chases the pitch down out of the zone.
Fouled back by Lee.
Since April 23rd, Carlos Lee hitting over 400 in these situations with runners in scoring position.
Did it hit him? I don't think it did. It was close. And as Lee will have to dust himself off.
Wow, that's the very definition of chin music right there. Don't mind pushing a hitter off the plate. You like it to be down below the shoulder level. I guess it was about shoulder level. I just don't like to see anything straying up there around the head area, but a definite purpose pitch from Ted Lilly.
1-1 on Lee. The pitch. Strike 2. We have an additional note from Jason Carr in the Cubs media relations department. Soto, the first Cubs catcher to hit an inside the park home run since Cal Neiman on June 17th, 1959, off Harvey Haddix of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's been a while.
Yes, indeed.
We might have a shot. Well, that's the second one that's been close, right near our broadcast position. And you were ready. I was hiding.
I was ready to play that carom. You know how they jump up to grab the ball and it hits off their hand? I was ready to get the rebound right here.
There's Jason behind Bob. Wave, Jason. Shallow left. Soriano will have to play it on the hop. I'll use your line. Swing hard, hit it soft. That's what Lee did. It's now 3-1.
Well, guys who have historically been good run producers don't necessarily hit balls in the gap or over the fence to produce those runs. This time Carlos Lee gets jammed badly. It's strong enough to muscle that ball out there in front of Soriano for a base hit.
I don't know if Hunter Pence has any siblings, but if he has a sister who gets married, would she be an expense?
Only to her husband.
That's my first one in a while, so I had to get it out there.
I saw you thinking over there. I wondered what was coming.
2-0 on Pence, and now Soto will head back out.
And there was a time you had to keep a close eye on Carlos Lee over there at first base. He used to steal 10, 12, 13 bases in a year, had a high of 18 for the White Sox back in 03. You forget he's over there, don't pay enough attention, allow him to get that walking lead. He's likely just to take off for second base. Doesn't run nearly as much as he used to, but still knows how.
Pence has hit a career best 16 straight. Berkman with a 17-gamer coming in. 3-0. Wigginton's on deck. He lined hard to Soriano to make the final out of the second. Three and one. With the BP fastball that time at 86. We've seen Ted get it up there in the low 90s. Seems like his arm strength is, if it's not all the way back, it's very close. And there's 3-1. Pence swings away, pops it up. Derek without a lot of room. Nice catch by a fan with the mitt.
Give it to a kid.
Lee will be running on this payoff pitch. Deep drive to center. Jim Edmonds tracking. And he got it on Taz Hill. Jim Edmonds can still go get him. I didn't think we'd see a better catch than Reed Johnson's all year, but that one may have tied it. What a play. He can still do it. Inning over.
Ball is brought to you in part by Aflac. Ask about it at work and by the Toyota Tundra. Visit whytundra.com to find out why the Toyota Tundra is a great way to keep moving forward.
Derek Lee hits a two-bouncer to Miguel Tejada, and he's out. We've seen a couple of the best highlights of the Cubs season so far, and there have been a lot of highlights, but Jim Edmonds, not only did he make his catch, but remember fouling the ball off his ankle, and he was attended to on the bases earlier, and there was no panic as he went back up onto Towles Hill to make that catch and save the run.
8 Rawlings Gold Glove awards. They don't give those things away for nothing. Hunter Pence crushes this ball to center. Edmonds was initially looking over his left shoulder, looked straight back over his head, and eventually over his right shoulder to make that running catch. Just absolutely unbelievable. Carlos Lee giving him the business as he came running off the field after the inning. Wow. I'll tell you how quickly things change in this game. When that ball came off the bat of Hunter Pence and I saw where Jim Edmonds was playing, the first thought that crossed my mind was, we're going to see another inside the park home run right here. Straight away center field, 436 feet away from home plate. Don't know where that ball would have caromed if Edmonds doesn't make the play. Pence runs extremely well, and he turned it into an out. Unbelievable.
To Ramirez, and we might be in another sequence like we saw earlier.
You see where Edmonds starts. Medium depth in center field. He plays shallower than a lot of guys. Immediately breaks to his right, going straight back, looking over his left shoulder, straight over his head, and then eventually over his right shoulder.
Running up a hill.
Running up a hill with a bad ankle.
Unbelievable. Matsui to his left. That's an extremely difficult play without running up the hill. I saw Craig Biggio, I think it was, just totally bit it. I mean, he was going straight back. took one step up on the hill and just laid out. We saw Scott Hairston trip over the bullpen mound at Wrigley Field. Then you're at the end of the run, and then you have to go up.
I'm stunned. That was just a tremendous play. We didn't know how much Jim Edmonds had left. We heard some stories from San Diego, talked to some scouts that had seen him play a lot in the early going, and there was some question as to whether he had lost a step out there in center field, and maybe that is the case, but not on that play. That's as fine as you can do it.
Since you started your major league career, have you seen a center fielder who makes that catch better than Jim Edmonds with his back to home plate? That's his specialty.
No. I mean, I challenge you to go out in the driveway right now and run as fast as you can and try to look straight back over your shoulders behind you. You'll end up falling on your face. That's not an easy thing to do, and yet track a baseball in the air the entire time and still be able to make the catch. Just the combination of skills that it takes to make a play like that is just remarkable. Yeah, you're right. I thought Reed Johnson made the greatest catch I was going to see this summer from a center fielder, but I'm not so sure now.
Well, and as you said, that could have saved possibly the tying runs, depending on where that ball ends up. Hunter Pence runs very well. It's at least a double, maybe a triple, maybe even an inside the park home run. At least it would have made it 3-2. I have a feeling Cub fans who have spent the last almost week being upset about the fact that Jim Edmonds is now a Cub, they're feeling a little better about it.
Hunter Pence can't believe it. You know what? There's been a lot of hitters in baseball that have had a similar reaction to balls they hit the center field when Jim Edmonds went out there and turned somersaults and dove head first or caught it over the shoulder. That's a common reaction from a hitter. I can't believe he made that play.
Three and two, nobody on, 2 outs. Ground ball past Matsui into right. Kosuke on for the second time.
Well, I think the crowd here was in a little shock after that play. They were on their feet. They were anticipating at least a run. Anticipating getting an opportunity to watch one of their fastest players run the bases, maybe end up with a triple or an inside the park homer, and it got quiet in here in a hurry.
Here's Soto, who cranked an inside the park 3-run homer in the 4th. A ball that we thought should have been called a home run. Caromed off the wall. Looked like just to the right of the vertical yellow stripe, which is about 10 feet to the left of the 404 mark in deep left center. But it's more exciting that it was an inside the park home run. Pence comes racing over. He makes the catch and foul ground. That ends the inning. 2-out single by Fukudome, no runs. Cubs lead this thriller. It's been fun early on, hasn't it? Cubs 3, Astros 1. Well, Luke, I don't know what more we can add. This has been a fun start, and I'll tell you what, you think about the 2 plays, the inside the park home run, the Edmonds catch. You want to win this game to make those plays be the big topic of conversation after.
No doubt about it, and I'm sure that Ted Lilly has that in the back of his mind. He's pitched a great game up to this point. I mean, anytime you can hold the second hottest hitter in the National League, I'm going to say it, 0 for 2 in this ball game, and pretty much has handled the rest of the lineup with relative ease. You have to feel good about your chances.
Ty Wigginton goes out into deep left center. Nobody's going to catch this one. Wigginton suffered a bruised left thumb on April 5th at Wrigley Field. That was the diagnosis when he left in the 7th. Post-game X-ray found a fracture, and he ended up on the DL, back and healthy. He's in scoring position here in the 5th.
I'm sure we're going to see a pinch hitter for Moeller in this inning. He has thrown a bunch of pitches in this ball game. We see Jose Cruz Jr. already out into the on-deck circle, as they do have a left-hander throwing down in the bullpen in right center field. Cecil Cooper does not like to sacrifice bunt. I believe they're either last or next to the last in the National League. They like to let their guys go ahead and swing away, so I don't think you're going to see Brad Ausmus put down a sac bunt here.
There's left-hander Tim Burdack up in their bullpen. By the way, since Wigginton has come back from the DL, the Astros are 12-4. He's in scoring position for Brad Ausmus. They have two southpaws in their pen. They have Burdack and Wesley Wright. Outside, a ball and a strike. And the 1-1 inside out swing by Ausmus. I think that pitch might have been inside actually, but he hit a ground ball to the right side to move the runner up.
Just trying to fight off that fastball that ran up and in. It's a good result for the Astros. Just a weak ground ball to the right side, but that will move the runner to third base with one out in the inning.
Here's Jose Cruz Jr., switch hitter. His father's down at first base, the first base coach, Jose Cruz Sr. Swing and a miss. Cruz has bounced around a lot the last several years. You look at his entire career, he's been a Mariner, Blue Jay, Giant, Ray, Diamondback, Red Sox, Dodger, Padre, and now an Astro. I think at one time he played for Lou Piniella in Seattle. That's a strike. Began his big league career with Seattle in 1997, playing for Lou. And then again in 04 with Tampa Bay. Two on the way, fouled back. Big crowd here for a Monday night in Houston. The third place Astros entertaining the first place Cubs. The second place Cardinals are in San Diego a little later. Cubs are 2 up on the Redbirds, 2.5 ahead of Houston. 2-2 pitch, and it's now full. The Astros have played 28 games on the road. That's the most in the majors. The Cubs have played just 17, tied for the fewest. Astros are home this week, and then they'll hit the road again for a 9-game trip coming up next week. They just went 7-3 on a 10-day trip. That's pretty impressive.
dropped 2 out of the last 3 games of that road trip to Texas in interleague play.
Cubs have lost 7 of their last 10 on the road, but they're coming off a fantastic 8-2 homestand. Cruz walks. Second walk given up by Lilly. You see the alignment. Jim Edmonds plays about as shallow as any center fielder in baseball. He and Andrew Jones can do that because they can cover so much ground deep. And occasionally a ball will get over Jim Edmonds' head, but the thing is, he'll take away a blue base hit that another center fielder might not get to, who would play deeper. I like the trade-off.
One other thing that can occasionally get you in trouble if you play too shallow in center field is that ball that might be hitting the gap. The left fielder or right fielder comes over to try to get it, and you're not in a position to be able to back that play up, and it gets through for extra bases all the way to the wall. But as you said, the base hits that he takes away that normally would have dropped in front of a center fielder playing at a normal depth, I think it more than makes up for the rare ball that will get through all the way to the wall.
I think most pitchers would tell you they get more frustrated by balls that drop in front of outfielders than balls that go behind them. Because if you give up a well-struck hit, you're not going to be upset at an outfielder as much as if you make your pitch, you get a guy to fist it into the outfield and you don't get an out. 2-1. Sure, you could tell us many stories as a catcher going out to the mound and having a pitcher just completely lose it because he gives up 3 bloop hits and says, I should have 3 outs.
Haven't hit a ball hard yet.
Yeah.
Well, as you said, generally, if a pitcher executes the pitch he's trying to make, it's not going to be hit hard. It may be put into play off the end of the bat or off the handle, and those are the ones that tend to fall in front of the outfielders.
This is a big part of this ball game now for Ted Lilly. He's at the top of the order. He has Matsui on deck. And then you get into the Tejada, Berkman, Lee area. You don't want to do that with a lot of runners on base and possibly a tie ball game. Needs to make a big one right here. The 3-1 base hit, and it's now 3-2. Here comes Larry Rothschild. Ted's in some trouble. He got bailed out by Jim Edmonds to end the 4th inning. And the Cubs badly need a ground ball hit at somebody on the infield.
Michael Bourne goes down, digs that fastball out, lines it into center field in front of Jim Edmonds. It'll be tough to turn 2 with Matsui at the plate. He has not grounded into a double play yet this year. Of course, if he hits it hard right at one of the Cubs infielders, a much better possibility of turning it over.
One thing we haven't brought up, but needs to be said, the Astros have been one of the best comeback teams in baseball. Over half their wins have become from behind variety. They were down 6 on Thursday, and they came back and beat the Giants 8-7. So this is an Astros team that never feels like it's out of a ballgame. Cruz at second, representing the tying run. Bourne, the go-ahead runner, is at first base, and it's fouled off by Matsui. 3-2 Cubs here in the 5th. next one didn't miss by much. 1 ball, 1 strike. Little bouncer to third. It is a fair ball, and the out recorded at first. Ramirez throwing off that back leg.
Ramirez knows he has to hurry. Matsui streaking down that first baseline, makes a nice running throw across to Derek Lee, and plenty of time to get Matsui. Both Astro base runners advance, and in scoring position now for Tejada. This might be the biggest at bat of the ball game up to this point. A ball game that's had a great running catch in center field and an inside the park home run. This could be the biggest at bat of the game right here. Backdoor slider to start the sequence, and we know who's in the on-deck circle. So Ted Lilly wants to go right after Tejada in this situation.
Berkman's 0 for 2 to start the night, but don't let that fool you. Slider than the curveball, so he's shown Tejada both of his breaking pitches.
Now the emphasis goes to Geovany Soto, ahead in the count 0-2. You would assume that Ted Lilly's going to play around with a couple of pitches here, try to get Tejada to chase a pitch out of the strike zone, and it falls on Geovany Soto to make sure that ball does not get by. Big, slow breaking ball for strike 2, drops it right in there in the middle of the thighs.
Now, aside from whatever Soto just told Lilly, did he tell him what the next pitch is going to be?
Very possibly. I mean, if you have any concerns at all about that runner at second base, just go out and talk it over. Here's what we're going to do 0-2, and after you miss with that pitch, here's what we're going to do 1-2. Oh, almost snuck a high fastball past him. And he may have very well gone out there and told Ted Lilly, hey, if I call for a breaking ball again, make sure you get in the dirt. I'll block it. Kind of some nonverbal communication there between pitcher and catcher. Ted Lilly was kind of moving his head back and forth. You want to go away, you want to go in. Geovany Soto looked out and kind of moved his head to one side. We'll see what they choose to do right here. I'm guessing breaking ball.
Another 0-2, and he got him to chase. And he's saying, Tejada's saying he got a piece of it, but Ed Hickok said no. So Lilly gets out of it with limited damage. They do get 1, but the Cubs maintain their lead. And he did go with that breaking ball for strike 3. Well, it was a foul tip, but he caught it. Chicago Sports News Nightly on Land Rover Sports Night. Coming up tonight after Cubs postgame live, a full recap of this contest with clubhouse reaction, plus an update on the Cedric Benson situation. Join Mark and Pat for Land Rover Sports Night tonight after Cubs postgame live, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Jim Edmonds broke his bat as he just grounded out to Kaz Matsui. Left-hander Tim Burdack is now on the hill for the Astros. He signed a minor league contract on April 3rd after spending March with Detroit. Made 39 appearances for the Tigers last year and went 3-0 with a save.
8 walks against 3 strikeouts in 9 2/3 innings. Quite an involved discussion over there between the pitching coach, the catcher, and the pitcher. Possibly talking about the sequence that they went about to get Tejada right there. Maybe talking about the pitch that Wigginton hit for the double. There's always something to analyze when you get back to that bench after a half an inning.
Burdack was born in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Went to Rice University. And this is his 4th major league team. The Royals, the Orioles, the Tigers, and now the Astros. The 1-1-2 DeRosa's a bit away. Brian Moeller went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs. He walked 2, struck out 1, and gave up the inside the park home run to Geovany Soto.
We said that Cecil Cooper was probably expecting 5 innings and not much more out of Moeller tonight, but some of those long extended at bats by the Cubs hitters made sure that Brian Moeller could not pitch past the 5th today.
Yeah, he threw 95 pitches. So if my math is correct, that would be 19 pitches per inning. Shallow center, and it's caught by Bourne.
Seen any stats for this season so far, but usually the major league average of all games played is right around 16 pitches per inning. Certainly over the course of a long baseball season, there'll be some 5 and 6 pitch innings. There'll be some 25 and 30 pitch innings as well, but the average usually comes out right around 16 pitches per inning.
I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
16.4 per inning. 16.3 in the American League, 16.6 in the National League. So there you have it. Nothing in 2 on Ted Lilly. The most efficient team currently in the majors, the Cleveland Indians, 15.6. The team that's thrown the most, Milwaukee, 17.3. Lilly flailed at strike 3. Tim Burdock with a quick pitch. 3 up, 3 down, 6. 3-2 Cubs. Well, the Cubs lead by a run, and here's Lance Berkman taking ball 1. We're in the bottom of the 6th. It's been a fun start tonight. The Cubs have gotten an inside the park home run from Geovany Soto. And a terrific over-the-shoulder catch out in center by Jim Edmonds. 1-1 on Berkman.
And a very well-pitched game from Ted Lilly up to this point.
A couple of right-handers. Fernando Nieve is on the left. Doug Rocale on the right. John Lieber up for the Cubs. Pitched well his last time out after a long layoff. The Berkmen.
I mentioned early in the ball game, this is the side of the plate you would prefer to have Lance Berkman on. The numbers this year would not bear that out. Coming into play tonight, he was hitting .463 against lefties, .377 against righties, but over his career it's been a little bit more of a split. Coming into this season against left-handed pitching, only .269 batting average as opposed to a .310 average against right-handed pitching.
The 3-2 struck him out swinging. Number 6 for Ted. Berkman's 0 for 3.
Expands his zone here, chases a slider up above the letters out over the plate. You know, it's not unusual to see a guy have a different swing from one side of the plate to the other, but Lance Berkman really has disparate swings from the left and right side of the plate. They don't look anything alike.
Ted's trying to make his case here to Lou to let him face Carlos Lee.
I think he's going to make the change.
Pat on the backside from his manager. He'll exit with a 3-2 lead. It's the Heineken call to the pen. And we'll be back to Houston. There's number 10. Hi, Ron. Corey Provis in the background. He doesn't even have a seat. What's up with that, Matt Bolts? Producer engineer Pat Hughes on the left.
I love what they've done with the booth.
A picture or something up there. Come on. Here's John Lieber.
John Lieber into this ball game. I would assume basically for the career numbers that he's amassed against Carlos Lee. Big Carlos 4 for 26 lifetime. That's a 154 batting average, including 1 for his last 14 against John Lieber.
Slide piece for a strike. John made his first appearance in 10 days on Saturday. Gave up a hit, but struck out 3 Pirates. Soft liner, and DeRosa can't get it. That's just bad luck. Off the end of the bat, Carlos Lee hit it about as badly as he could hit it. He's done that twice for both of his hits.
Now, first it was a jam shot RBI single into left field. This time a cue shot right off the end of the bat. Mark DeRosa trying to stretch out there and at least smother that ball and keep it in the infield, but can't quite get to it. Nice effort.
Well, good. We say this a lot. That generally happens with good hitters at the plate. They find a way. Sometimes it's not pretty. So it's Pence with a man on and 1 out. There's a double play ball. 6, 4, 3. They turn it. Lieber gets a ground ball double play, and the 6th inning is over. On to the 7th from Houston. Cubs 3, Astros 2. Tonight the series wraps up in Houston as Derek Lee, Aramis Ramirez, and the Cubs battle Lance Berkman, Carlos Lee, and the rival Astros in high definition. Don't miss the Cubs and the Stros Wednesday night at 7. Right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Pitching matchup coming up Wednesday, Sean Gallagher and Sean Chacon. That's S-E-A-N against S-H-A-W-N. Fernando Nieve with some good heat, but he missed ball 1. And Alfonso Soriano Burdack went 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. In relief of Brian Moeller. John Lieber came in, got a big double play ball after Lilly left. How about a fat one right down the middle?
I vote for that. Up and in a little bit, swung right through it. No surprise, a close game here tonight, Len. Cubs holding a narrow 1-run lead here in the 7th inning. Going back to last September, the Cubs have won 6 out of 8 against the Astros, but 7 of those 8 games were decided by 2 runs or less. Nail biters.
Nieve missed most of last year after Tommy John surgery. He just got recalled from AAA Round Rock. And that was on Friday. And Jeff Geary was put on the 15-day disabled list. Geary has a right groin sprain. But 3-2, he struck him out swinging. And Alfonso's 0 for 3 with an intentional walk.
Both the hot hitters in this ball game having trouble getting it started here tonight. Fonzie had a couple of good pitches to hit in that sequence. This came up empty.
Nieve takes medication for asthma. He was struggling with his breathing earlier this season in the minors. He ended up going to the bullpen so he could pitch in shorter spurts. Was it Jerome Williams who had asthma problems, I think? Former Cub?
Yeah, I think you're right.
strike.
Well, not a lot of tricks from Geovany. Just comes in there pumping that fastball in the low to mid 90s. Four-seamer straight over the top. See a breaking ball right here. They're giving Ryan Theriot a lot of room down in that left field corner. Carlos Lee is almost playing in straightaway left center field right now. Bourne shaded a few steps over into the gap in right center, and Pence guarding the line out in right field.
2-2, and it's full.
Of course, if your pitcher's going to pound away at the outside corner the way the Astros have done throughout this game tonight, it makes sense to shift your outfielders over in that direction. You run into problems, however, when you get a pitcher on the mound that can't hit his spots, leaves some pitches over the inside part of the plate, and beats that shift. We've talked about this many times in the past. The Atlanta Braves, in my experience, overshift their outfielders as much as any ball club in the major leagues, putting it on their pitchers to hit the spots necessary to get the offense to hit the ball to where your outfielders are playing.
Pulled fair, and Lee has a long run because he was pulled over into the gap, and it'll make it an easy double for Theriot.
I guess that's the reasoning right there. Cover the gap in left center where there is some room and you could possibly get a triple, and allow him to hit the ball down the left field line where there's very little chance to leg out a triple because of the proximity of that out-of-town scoreboard to third base. Wigginton with a diving attempt, that ball by him before he could get his glove out there. And even though Carlos Lee had about a quarter of a mile to run to get to this ball, Ryan Theriot pulls up at second base with a double. Very short throw from there back into third base.
Well, and you talked about the fast playing surface, so the ball is going to get out to the wall very quickly, which actually helps the left fielder. Well, the Cubs would love to see Derek Lee come up with a big hit. Ramirez with 2 knocks after going hitless in that Pirates series, but Derek is 0 for 3. Again, the Cubs have continued to win because other guys have been hot. And we both know it's just a matter of time before Derek gets in another hot streak. His average right now at 284. Got off to a great start in April. Sky foul, 2-1. All the Cubs' runs came on one swing of the bat from Geovany Soto, who hit an inside the park 3-run homer in the 4th. There's a base hit into left center. Theriot coming around. The throw by Bourne will go to second base, and there's that hit for Derek. 4-2.
Initially, the cheers of the Cub fans for Derek Lee's RBI base hit into center field, and then, as always, followed by the boos from the Astro fans here at Minute Maid Park. Derek Lee with a clean single back up the middle of the field. No activity right now in the Astros bullpen. I think this will be a real good matchup for Kosuke Fukudome. Going all the way back to spring training, he talked about the only real difference he saw in the pitching in America as opposed to Japan was the moving fastballs. Geovany doesn't throw a moving fastball. It's a laser beam straight four-seamer. This should be a good matchup for Kosuke.
Nothing on Ramirez. The pitch. Too high, 2-0. They played 7 in Washington, D.C. Is Dewey Robinson, the pitching coach. They'll head out to the mound. And the Nationals lead the Phillies 4-0. San Francisco leading the Rockies. They're in Colorado 2-0. Randy Wynn with his second home run, middle of the third in that ball game. Todd Wellemeyer and his 4-1 record. They'll take on the Padres later. Will Ledesma filling in for Jake Peavy tonight for San Diego. The Reds take their 6-game winning streak into Chavez Ravine against the Dodgers. Arroyo and Penny on the mound a little later. White Sox playing tomorrow at home. They're hot. Boston shutting out Kansas City 7-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Varitek with his 5th home run. Minnesota leading Texas 4-2 last of the 5th. And Tampa Bay is at Oakland tonight. Pence with the catch, 2 down, and here comes Fukudomo. Brewers, Bob, they're off tonight. They have lost 5 straight. They're in last all by themselves in the National League Central.
Can't lose tonight.
Ryan Braun's been hot, but they haven't been winning. You always look on the positive side, right? Can't lose tonight. Yep.
I'm sure Ned Yost is hoping the off day will benefit his ball club. Sometimes you just need to step away a little bit. Spend some time with your family, get away from the ballpark and regroup a little bit.
Outside corner, 1-1.
It's funny how your perception of the season changes during the course of the season. You could be playing real good baseball, have several guys in your offense swinging the bat well, your rotation is clicking, your bullpen's pitching well. You don't want an off day. You want to play every day. You want to get them out there while they're hot. And the other side of the coin is if things aren't going so well, you start picking up the media guide and looking when the next off day is. We need one.
Give it to the kid. An older kid, younger guy. 1-2 on Kosuke. I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Yeah, I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. I think the guy that ended up with the baseball tried to make the play here. You'll see him try to make the two-handed catch. He misses it. The other guy comes down and swoops it out from under his feet. And then they booed him so badly he felt ashamed and gave it back.
Peer pressure got to him. Base hit and another 3-run inside the park home run.
You would definitely need an oxygen tank for Gio then. So that's the one I've been looking for. I talked about it yesterday back at Wrigley Field coming to this ballpark. That fastball up and away that Kosuke seems to get down and through, gets a lot of backspin and drives that ball to the opposite field. And had visions of Kosuke banging that out-of-town scoreboard in left field.
Line and off the glove of Matsui. Pence will pick it up. Lee will end up at third. Kosuke with his second hit. Inning still alive for Soto.
It wasn't a line drive off the scoreboard, but it was a rocket through the right side. Went right down the barrel of the bat. Nice finish. That bat toss, and Matsui just couldn't quite get up there enough to make the catch. Come on, Gio, do it again.
I think he would like to hit one over the Crawford boxes and really take his time. Well, that's not going to happen. 6-4 on the force play at second base. They'll get up and stretch here in Houston. The Cubs added an insurance run on the Derek Lee RBI single. They now lead 4-2. Cubs lead the Astros 4-2. Glad you're with us tonight here on Comcast Sportsnet. As the Cubs open up a 3-game series and a 6-game road trip that will take them through Houston and Pittsburgh. If you missed it earlier, where were you? Geovany Soto in the 4th inning with 2 on hit a deep drive to left center. We thought the ball was out. Looked like it was just to the right of the yellow line. They called it in play. He ended up with an inside the park home run, and then Jim Edmonds tracking this Hunter Pence drive, making the catch as he ran up Taos Hill, saved at least a run. And here we are, 4-2 as John Lieber rather facing Ty Wigginton in the last of the 7th. Lou specifically mentioned Lieber and Fox as 2 guys he wants to see get more work. Scott Air up in the bullpen. Chad Fox is from the Houston area, and he's very excited not only to be on a major league roster, but to be back in his hometown. This is very emotional for him. Michael Hoffpower, who made his major league debut yesterday, is from nearby Jacksonville, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from Houston, so he'll have a lot of family and friends who will attend this series. Kerry Wood from the Dallas area. He's from Irving. Bounce back to Lieber. This will be an easy play. 1 out. And Rich Hill has gone to the 7-day disabled list with the Iowa Cubs. He has the back problem. It doesn't appear as though it's a very serious problem. So he'll get a little bit of a rest, and maybe as much mental as anything else as he tries to get his head and everything else back together, his mechanics at AAA. And the Cubs hope he's back at some point, but it sounds like Sean Marshall's a bit ahead of him, and maybe even Kevin Hart as well, all in that rotation. Ausmus flies out to right. And let's check in on the Cubs minor league report. Big day for Matt Merton yesterday. Came up home run shy of the cycle. Left-hander Randy Kiesler gave up just a couple of runs. Matt Craig now batting .389 at Double-A. Houston Carter for the home run for the High A Daytona Cubs. Darren Erstad will pinch hit for Nieve. Off the inside corner, ball 1.
As a pinch hitter this year. Darren Erstad .313 overall coming into play tonight in very limited action. Only 64 at bats on the season.
The next pitch way outside. Bourne on deck. Three days ago, Texas Erstad picked up his 1600 hit. Or 1600th hit. Be the better way to put it. 300 career doubles as well. Second inning 2-base hit at Texas. Big cut. 3-2.
Never known as a home run hitter, but he was trying to lift and separate right there. Put one out in that Astros bullpen in right center field. Big swing. He only has 64 bats on the season. 1 home run.
Lieber gave up a single to Carlos Lee, but then he got a 6-4-3 double play to end the 6th. Working with 2 outs in the 7th. Popped up by Erstad, so Lieber comes back. He was 3-0. He gets Erstad on the pop fly to Aramis Ramirez. We'll go to the 8th inning. The Cubs lead this one by 2. Time now for the sharp Aquas detail. Jim Edmonds fouled the ball off his right ankle, but it didn't hurt his defense as he ran down this Hunter Pence deep fly to center, saved a run. And it's our sharp Aquas detail of the game.
That'll take some of the sting out of that bruised ankle, making a great running catch like that.
Here's left-hander Wesley Wright.
Another one of these Astros relievers that's had some problems finding the strike zone with consistency. Almost as many walks as strikeouts.
He'll face Jim Edmonds. We're in the 8th inning. The Cubs lead 4-2. Well, the first no-hitter of the year has been tossed at Fenway Park. Left-hander John Lester just no-hit the Kansas City Royals. 9 innings, no hits, no runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He threw 130 pitches, 86 were strikes. And what a story it is for John Lester. He came back from lymphoma, diagnosed in 2006. Won the 2007 Tony Conigliaro Award. So congratulations to John Lester. He's the first pitcher to throw a no-hitter in the majors since Clay Buchholz did it with the Red Sox on September 1st of last year.
It seems like they come in bunches too. I don't know if there's any data to support that, but it seems like if somebody throws a no-hitter, usually there's another 1 or 2 very shortly thereafter.
And he is not to be confused with the John Lester, L-E-I-C-E-S-T-E-R, who once pitched for the Cubs. He's a right-hander. John Lester, L-E-S-T-E-R, is a lefty.
Well, congratulations to both, but especially the lefty.
Yeah, the other one will probably get some phone calls.
I would imagine.
Three and 2 on Jim Edmonds. Here's a pitch by Wright, hit off the end of the bat, foul. Wright got his first major league win in his 2nd career appearance, and it came at Wrigley Field on April 4th. He recorded 1 out. That was enough for him to get the victory. Only time the Astros have beaten the Cubs this year. Dempster will start tomorrow night against Chris Sampson. Little tapper. Edmonds hustling, and the flip by Wright is in time to Berkman. The Cubs play the Rockies on Thursday, May 29th at 7:05. The first 20,000 will receive a scratch and win card. 500 random winners will receive an autographed Carlos Zambrano baseball, compliments of Bank of America. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. For complete rules, visit Cubs.com. Zambrano's next appearance should be on Friday at Pittsburgh. Lee coming in to back up at the last second. He didn't want that ball to get by him. Mark DeRosa, who already has that 10-game hitting streak as he singled earlier, now has 2 hits tonight.
little payback there for Carlos Lee. We mentioned he had a base hit very similar to that early in the ball game. A full swing. Hit it off the hands a little bit. Just floated out there in front of the left fielder. This time DeRosa hits it a little better out toward the end of the bat, but Carlos Lee has to back up, play it on a hop.
Ronnie Cedeno will bat for John Lieber. John Lieber has been tremendous his last 2 outings since going back into the Cubs bullpen.
John Lieber had a real good slider going today. When he's able to command that slider the way he did in this ball game, he can still be an extremely effective pitcher. Tough on right-handers. Snack down there.
Ball 2.
Kirkland's got a few different nicknames. We jokingly called him Fat Elvis. He likes that nickname. I think they call him the Big Puma here in Houston. Right. That's another nickname.
Fastball strike, 2-1. Lou alluded to his solid bench as he referred to being able to give his starting position players days off. Ronnie Cedeno has been very valuable. He basically has 2 starting center fielders right now, Reed Johnson and Jim Edmonds, who are in a quasi platoon. We've seen Henry Blanco occasionally get a start behind the plate. And we'll probably see Micah Hoffpower get a start in this series as well. And Fontenot has been used as a starter at second base. He's been relegated to bench duty here lately. It's nice to have a good bench, but it's even better to have a bench that you can start.
And you believe that those guys that are getting a spot start from time to time will be able to go out on the field and do something to help you win, and also gives you a even stronger bench when you start one of your bench players. And by that I mean when Micah Hoffpower does get his start at first base at some point in the future, you've got Derek Lee available late in the game off the bench to take a key at bat if necessary. Same thing for Henry Blanco. When he gets his starts behind home plate, you've got Geovany Soto in your back pocket to use in one of those key pinch hit situations.
Ronnie takes the walk. Well, I look at it this way, Bob. You could make a lineup pretty easily that would involve all the bench players tonight in a starting lineup, and it would be a competitive lineup, and that's a good sign. Here comes Cecil Cooper with Soriano at the plate.
Apparently that reliever down in the Astros bullpen not quite ready. Cecil had to think it over before he came out of the dugout, and now taking that long, slow walk out to the mound to give his reliever an opportunity to throw a few more pitches, and now he'll signal for the right hand.
Dave Borkowski will come in to face Soriano. Heineken called to the pen time. 2 on, 1 out. Cubs lead 4-2. Dave Borkowski makes his 17th appearance. 1 out, first and second for Soriano, who is 0 for 3 with an intentional walk. Ball 1.
Bonzi 0 for 6 lifetime against Borkowski. He's due. saw those numbers. Borkowski's actually given up a higher batting average to right-handed hitters than lefties this year. Ausmus asking for that pitch up. I don't think he believes it. See the location of that last pitch, off the plate, belt high. He's had some good pitches to hit his last 2 at bats. Last time up when he struck out, Geovany threw him a couple of heaters right down the middle of the plate, about belt high. Had good swings, but fouled them off.
DeRosa's at second. Cedeno at first. Here's the 1-2. He struck him out swinging.
I'll tell you one thing you can say about both pitching staffs in this ball game. We documented how hot Soriano and Berkman had been coming into this series, and neither pitching staff has shied away from either one of those guys and been able to hold them both hitless in this game.
After grounding out in each of his first 3 at-bats, he doubled and scored in the 7th. Big insurance run in that inning as Derek Lee singled him home.
You may remember Ryan Terrio's last at bat back in the 7th inning when he doubled down the left field line. We pointed out where Carlos Lee was playing, way over into the gap in left center. After that double down the left field line in his last at bat, he's now playing him a little more straight up out there in left field.
Comebacker right through the legs of the pitcher, and it gets past the second baseman Matsui. Bourne with a throw. It's going to be late. Cut off, and they have Cedeno caught between second and third. And the tag is applied by the first baseman, Berkman. But they do get the run. Terrio with the RBI hit. And it's now 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th from Houston. This comes in. He'll face the top of the order for the Astros, starting with Michael Bourne.
Good numbers for Michael Wirtz this season. You're absolutely right about that insurance run, Len. This is one of those ballparks, a bloop and a blast, and suddenly you're right back into a ball game. So any tack-on runs you can add late in the game are going to be huge.
Here we go. Bunted, foul. We pieced it together. Bourne to Berkman to Wigginton to Tejada to Berkman to get run. So that goes 8-3, 5, 6, 3. It's a foul ball.
And you may ask yourself, well, how come you're not beating up on Ronnie for a bad base running play? Because it wasn't a bad base running play. As a trail runner on that particular play, unless you are 100% sure that guy is going to score at home plate, the idea is to draw that throw to third base, let the run score, and inevitably you're going to get tagged out in that rundown, but you want to make sure you get that run on the plate.
Base hit to right to start the Houston 8th.
Now the cat and mouse will begin. Michael Bourne, 18 out of 21 on the season, stealing bases, and even trailing by 3 runs in the game. I look for him to be on the move over there sometime soon.
Strike 1 on Matsui. Carlos Marmol up in the Cubs pen.
Well, we
was he lights out yesterday. He walked 1, but he struck out 3 in the 8th. The bullpen had a 1.82 earned run average on the just completed 8-2 homestand. We've seen John Lieber go an inning and 2/3, no runs tonight. And now it's Michael Wirtz.
What I just saw right there from Geovany Soto. Cubs bench had called for a pickoff attempt at first base, but rather than just put down the sign for a pickoff attempt, he had Michael Wirtz shake his head no a couple times as if he were calling signs. The good base stealers will watch what that pitcher does out there on the mound. When he sees you shake your head, he assumes that the catcher's calling for a pitch. But in that particular instance, he wasn't.
Bourne just got in. Bit of a risky play with his team down 3. And Ryan Theriot needs a second.
Unfortunately, that throw came in there on a short hop. You see the Astros with a 7 stolen base lead over the Dodgers in the National League. Had a decent jump, but Gio really makes up a lot of time with that quick release. Unfortunately, the throw short hop. You'll see Theriot has to come up to catch the ball and then go back down with the tag, and by then Bourne is on the base.
That snaps Bourne's streak of being caught his previous 3 times trying to steal. Swing and the miss to make it 2-2 on Matsui. Sure it got through, and the tying run is going to come up, and I think Lou's going to go with Marmol here. He's going to bring in his best reliever in this spot. Well, never easy here, as you said. There have been a lot of close games between the Cubs and the Astros here lately. It's 5-2, but the Astros are threatening. Heineken called to the pen. Marmol coming on.
May I help you?
He's at first and third. Matsui running. The throw's going to go to second. Safe. Well, the Cubs thought they had him. And Lou's going to come out. Joe West made the call. Bang, bang at second. And the Astros live and die by the stolen base. They have been very aggressive here in the 8th inning. I'm sure these two have argued a few times in the past.
Yeah, you think? DeRosa's argument was that he got the tag down maybe on the helmet or the shoulder of Matsui as he slid into second base before he got his foot on the bag. Dero was pretty adamant that he thought they had him at second base. Good jump by Matsui. Oh boy, he is out.
He is way out. Out by 2 feet.
And hopefully that won't come back to haunt the Cubs.
You can look at it from every angle you want. He was out, but he's not out because Joe West said he was safe. Popped him up behind second. An enormous first out. So now the question is, what do you do here with Berkman? First base open. You lead by 3, but you have Carlos Lee on deck, and Lou's going to come back out, and they're going to chat about it.
Well, Berkman 2 for 6 lifetime against Carlos Marmol with a home run and a double. Carlos Lee 2 for 7 with a double. Now, based on what we've seen tonight, I would think you would go right at Berkman. He hasn't swung the bat like the hottest hitter in the National League that we had heard of in the games leading up to this one, but he is ever dangerous. You just better make sure you make your pitches.
You don't look at it negatively, but even if Berkman takes Marmol deep, it's a tie ball game. If you put him on and Carlos Lee puts one in the Crawford boxes, you're down by a run. And it's Carlos Marmol on the mound, a guy who certainly has come up in big spots and has come through. So Berkman's the tying run. And it's a slider outside.
And one thing to consider, this is Berkman's first at bat in the ball game from the left side of the plate. His 3 previous at bats all came as a right-handed hitter.
Trailed at strike 1, 1-1.
Good hard slider. Starts at the bottom of the strike zone. Looks like a low fastball. Berkman swings right over the top of it.
Strike 2.
Another one. Carlos tried to overthrow that slider, got out of his hand, was well wide of the strike zone. And it's a common mistake for a youngster. You throw 2 nasty sliders in a row under control and then try to throw that third one, the slider from hell, and overthrew it and left it over in that right-handed batter's box. We hear veteran pitchers talk about repeating their mechanics, not getting outside what they're capable of doing. And that's something Carlos will learn with time.
2-2 way outside. He's run it full.
I think you have to run another slider here, 3-2. Even though the last 2 haven't been good, if he can throw the good slider that he got the 2 swings on, we could probably punch him out here.
Well, this is why people wait in line to buy tickets to come watch Major League Baseball. It has been a great night here in Houston. And a huge 3-2 pitch, and he went around. It's a strikeout. Berkman has now fanned 3 straight times. He's 0 for 4, and that's the second out of the 8th inning.
Boy, and Marmol got away with a hanger right there. Watch the location of this 3-2 slider. Oh my, right up in his eyes on the inside part of the plate. Berkman with the check swing. Get the appeal down to Ed Raparano at third base. Actually, not at all. Ed Hickox called that himself. Gio was asking for an appeal, but Hickox made the call from behind home plate.
Up and in on Lee. 1 ball, no strikes. Pence on deck. But he wants to get Lee and get out of this 8th inning.
A little more urgency on that one. Right-handed fastball tailing up and in, started up and in. That is a head-high heater right there. Carlos Lee has seen 2 of those in this ball game tonight.
On El Caballo, the pitch. He didn't want any part of that slider. 3-0.
Carlos maybe a little overamped out there on the mound tonight, really overthrowing the ball. More so than we've seen him in any of his outings this year. 3-0 slider. Pretty much tells you what they think about this at bat. Hunter Pence, the guy in the on-deck circle, is 0 for 4 against Carlos with 3 strikeouts. So they're not going to give El Caballo anything he can tee up and try to hit into those Crawford boxes.
Ground ball to Ramirez. The throw's going to go to first base, and he gets out of it. Wertz gave up back-to-back singles. They had him at second and third with no outs, and he got out of it. 5-2 Cubs. Game live. Get highlights of all the action and analysis from Dan Plesac. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs post-game live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Well, Marmol got out of the 8th. I mean, he only had to face Tejada, Berkman, and Lee. It really wasn't that big a deal.
A couple guys in scoring position.
And as the time runs, that one got past Wigginton. And Derek will end up at second. He's going to round second and hold there.
Quick inside that time, past Wigginton down into that left field corner, and I love the fact Derek didn't take anything for granted. He busted it around first base, went hard to second base, really mishandling, overthrow the cutoff man, slow getting to the ball. He may have tried to go to third.
Derek gets a double. Strike one. Terrio, Lee, Ramirez, Fukudome, DeRosa, all with 2 hits.
The guy who was the Cubs' hottest hitter coming into this game, 0 for 4 on the evening with an intentional base on balls back in the 4th inning, Alfonso Soriano. We talked about that earlier. The game has a way of evening itself out. That roller coaster ride. Guys get hot, guys cool off. There's so many talented offensive players in this Cubs lineup. You're never worried about an extended offensive slump. Sure, it's going to happen from time to time. You run into a hot pitcher or a hot pitching staff. But over the course of the long season, if one guy doesn't get you, another one will.
There's a deep drive to left for Aramis, and it's a 2-run homer. Number 7 on the year, and the lead is now stretched to 5. It's 7-2.
That's a pitch Aramis has been waiting on all evening. Borkowski started the sequence with a slow curveball for a called strike one. Tried to come back with the same pitch, got too much plate this time. Our Belvedere home run replay. That's what a good hitter does with a hanging breaking ball. Oh my.
Home run number 15. 226 career at-bats here at Minute Maid Park for Aramis Ramirez.
I'll tell you, he can turn around anybody's fastball with the best of them. I don't know if I've seen a better breaking ball for strike hitter than Aramis Ramirez in a long time. If you throw that slider or curveball or even a straight changeup and catch too much of the plate, that's a pitch he can hit a long way.
A lot of people left after the 8th, and many more heading for the exits now after the 2-run blast.
So the fact that the Cubs were able to blank the Astros in that 8th inning was huge, because that is their biggest offensive inning as far as runs scored all season long. They've scored more runs in the 8th inning than any other inning of the ball game.
Tejada up with it. Now Geovany Soto, whose 3-run inside the park home run Looking pretty good as it might hold up as a game-winning hit.
It seems kind of odd because usually an inside the park home run, not all the time, but usually it's not a ball that should have been a home run anyway. Usually it's a ball that's the outfielders collide or it rolls down in the corner and gets stuck in a hot dog wrapper or something. But this one should have been a home run anyway. Our Nissan drive of the game, Geovany Soto deep to left center. A couple of teammates on base and scores without a play at home.
Just lost the grip on the handle of the bat after that last swing. Did not swing that time. Takes a call at third.
You know what I mean? Usually an inside the park homer, there's some kind of an odd circumstance that creates the opportunity for an inside the park home run. That was a home run to begin with and an inside the park home run on top of it.
Well, like we said earlier, it should have been a regular home run, but it's better that it worked out the way it did. It's much more memorable now.
Yeah, anybody can hit one over the stripe. Takes a special athlete to leg one out. That'll boy Gio.
Jim Edmonds will fly out to Michael Bourne. Cubs get two more on the home run by Aramis Ramirez. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Pence, Wigginton, Osmus due up. The Cubs lead this one by 5. Bob Howery comes in a non-save spot here in the ninth inning. His team leads by 5, 7-2. The lead is now 5. Aramis with a 2-run homer. Good job by Bob Howery yesterday. Gave up a walk and an infield hit, but pitched a scoreless 7th to help out Jason Marquis. Marmol and Wood closed it out. And Bob, you saw the pattern tonight. When you look at the Cubs bullpen, I think ideally Lou would rather have stayed away from Marmol and Wood. He used Lieber. Michael Wirtz started the 8th, but then got into trouble. So Marmol had to come in and clean up the mess, so to speak, and now he's going with Howery in the 9th. Any chance you get to save Marmol and Wood, you take that opportunity.
And I think as Bob Howery continues to fine-tune his approach out there on the mound and gets back to the way he was last season, I think we will see Bob Howery get some of those tough assignments as the season progresses. Yeah, same thing with Scott Air. As he continues to get more arm strength and get a little more fine-tuned, we may see the combination of Air and Howery to get through an inning that normally would have gone to Carlos Marmol.
Drive by Hunter Pence, but Jim Edmonds has a lot of room. That ball had a lot of air underneath. So 1 out here in the 9th. And it's Ty Wigginton. So final in D.C. The Nationals shut out Philadelphia 4-zip. Tim Redding with 6 wins. Redding 6-3 beat Brett Myers, who's now 2-5. The National League leader in wins, Brandon Webb, already has 9. It's mid-May. and he has 9 wins.
A starting pitcher usually gets between 32 and 35 starts during the course of a regular season. Last 30 game winner, I believe, was Denny McLain. Won 31 ball games and lost 6 for the Tigers. You need a lot of things to go right. Obviously, you have to be a very good pitcher, but you've got to have a solid defense behind you, a bunch of timely hitters on your offense, and catch a break here and there.
I'll tell you what, you know the Diamondbacks want to get that long-term extension done, but the price seems to be going up with every start Brandon Webb makes.
The meter is running. Just put it that way.
Lowry's 2-2. Got him looking for the second out.
Very crisp so far from Bob Howery. Dotting that outside corner with his four-seam fastball. Throwing the slider in the same slot. Breaking it out of the zone. Wigginton was just overmatched in that at-bat.
The producer of Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is Bob Albrecht. Our director Dave Turner, our associate producer Tamara Anderson, Lisa Jones is our stage manager in the booth, Bill Bradley our technical director, the executive producer is Jim Corno Jr. Great work by our entire Comcast Sportsnet crew. It's been a fun night here in Houston, and a lot of the conversation post game will be regarding the inside the park home run by Soto, the catch by Edmonds, and Carlos Marmol's escape job in the 8th.
Depends on whether you like offense, defense, or pitching. Something for everybody in this ball game tonight.
An out away from Ted Lilly's 4th straight win as well. As he looks to get back over 500. He hasn't even been over 500 this year because he lost his first 3 decisions. Left 32,458, the announced crowd, and the fans in the blue shirts have remained.
That's one thing we see everywhere we go on the road. The home fans have a tendency to leak out early, but the Cub fans stay till the end, win, lose, or draw.
Cubs are trying to go 11 over 500 for the first time since they finished the 04 season, 16 above 500. A 1-2 fouled back will do it again. Swing and a miss. Cubs win. Bob Howery goes 1-2-3 in the 9th. Couple of strikeouts in the frame. And a good start to this road trip. The Cubs are now back to 500 on the road. They're 9-9 away from Wrigley Field. They're now 28-17 overall. And to borrow your line, if you like pitching, if you like defense, if you like offense, Cubs displayed it all tonight in a 7-2 victory.
Boy, they really did, Lennon. A lot of the small things that happened in the ball game tonight. John Lieber very effective coming in relief of Ted Lilly initially. Carlos Marmol was outstanding, and Bob Howery with possibly his best outing of the year tonight.
Tonight's Chevy player of the game, we had a lot of options. We're going to go with the newest Cub, Jim Edmonds, especially considering he was hobbled after fouling the ball off his right foot or ankle. Made one of the catches of the year, and that certainly helped the Cubs keep the momentum as he robbed Hunter Pence to end the 4th inning. Honorable mention to Geovany Soto with the inside the park home run, and it was a game winner. So the Cubs are now 3-1 against Houston this year. And depending on what happens tonight out in San Diego, the Cardinals and the Padres, the Cubs could have potentially a 3-game lead going into action tomorrow. So that'll do it for our game coverage. Stay tuned. More to come on Post Game Live. Once again, the final score tonight. The Cubs 7, the Astros 2. Our next Cubs telecast here on Comcast Sportsnet. The series finale Wednesday night. We'll hit the air at 7 o'clock here from Houston's Minute Maid Park. Pitching matchup, Sean Gallagher against Sean Chacon in a battle of righties. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. And now for Bob Brenly and our entire Comcast Sportsnet crew, this is Len Casper saying good night from Houston. Again, Post Game Live is next. You've been watching Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Good night.
What a night. After winning 8 games on a 10-game homestand for the first time in 30 years, the Cubs hit the road and start a winning streak there. 7-2 over the Astros. Cubs now 28-17. 11 games over 500 for the first time since 2004. Hello and welcome to Lowe's Cubs Postgame Live. Luke Stuckmeyer and Dan Plezak here to break down the game. Dan, the Cubs just had that great homestand, but they haven't been very good on the road this year. This pushes them to 9-9 on the road this season. This game had a little bit of everything, and it's a nice way to start this trip.
Boy, there's no question about that, Luke. And this is a part of the schedule now where this team is going to get tested. They played a good majority of their games in the friendly confines, but this was a very well-played game. Ted Lilly looks like he's turned the corner. He's throwing the ball extremely well. Actually touched 91, 92 miles an hour on a couple of pitches. His curveball was really good. Outstanding bullpen performance. John Lieber was terrific. Bobby Howry may have had the best inning, and Carlos Marmol has done what he's done all season long. Troubleshooter, big situations, gets out of it. He is throwing the ball fantastic.
A lot of heroes in this game, and it had some spectacular plays. If you left the room to grab a snack, you probably missed something big. Let's check out our sweet play of the game tonight. Top of the fourth, 2 men on. Geovany Soto crushes one. The Brian Mueller pitch looks like it might have been out for a home run, but they say it's in play. Aramis Ramirez and Kosuke Fukudome score easily. Soto's off to the races. He's going for the inside the park home run, and he gets it standing up, a 3-run inside the park home run. Geovany Soto with the sweet play of the game. He was worn out after that one. Soto's inside the parker leads us to our Kawasaki let the good times roll stats. It's the first by a Cub since Derek Lee hit one last August against the Diamondbacks. It's the first by any catcher in baseball since Joe Mauer did it last July, but it's the first by a Cubs catcher since Cal Neiman did it back June 17th, 1959 against the Pirates. Dan, you remember that one well.
I remember that one well because when I was going out to take the warm-ups for the next inning, he didn't get out there till it was about the 7th warm-up pitch, and I was like, come on, let's go. Better get me ready. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if we have a shot of that out of the box. I'll tell you what, Geovany Soto, give him a lot of credit. He hit this ball very well, but he hustled out of the box. And most extra base hits are gotten, as soon as you leave the box, you have to think extra base hit. He was hustling around first base to put himself in a position to get the second and third. And then he picked up Mike Quaddy, and it was a tremendous job of hustling, not taking it for granted. When he hit this ball, he wasn't quite sure that it was out, but he was able to get an inside the park home run because he was hustling right out of the batter's box.
How excited Mike Quaddy was as he's waving around. You could see him on one of the angles. His eyes were all lit up. He didn't really look too bad. I mean, pretty good speed out of Soto.
And this is one thing now for Geovany. He is going to have bragging rights in that clubhouse the rest of the season because everybody that hits a home run this year, he's going to be able to say, hey, that's the easy part when you hit it and trot, hit it and take off and run.
He got his exercise. It looked like it should have been a home run anyway. Soto wasn't the only one with a special play tonight, though. Jim Edmonds was starting in center after Reed Johnson had played all 3 games against the Pirates because of that left-handed pitching. He didn't look old or rusty tonight. Let's check out this play. Bottom of the 4th, runner at first, 2 out. Hunter Pence drives one deep to center. Look at Edmonds. Over the shoulder, Willie Mays style, going up the hill. He had just fouled the ball off his foot not too long before that. He gets a great jump on this, dead run up a hill. That guy has made some incredible catches during his career. This is just another one.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's answered 2 questions, and it's only been a few days. One, he looks very good swinging the bat right now. You have to give him credit. He missed nearly 7 days by the time he was let go by the Padres, and the Cubs picked him up, wasn't sent out on an assignment or wasn't able to do much as far as staying in baseball shape. So there was a question about his bat speed. Was he going to be able to hit? But I'll tell you one thing. When you've done it before, you always have a chance. Now, it's not to say that Jim Edmonds is going to be the player that he was in the late 90s, early 2000 with the Angels and with the Cardinals, but he proved another point tonight. He can still go and get the ball. That was a tremendous play, and that's just another dimension of this team, in my opinion, why they're so good. They've got some star power with Lee and Ramirez and Fukadomi. You add Soriano to that mix, but they can catch the ball. They're a very good offensive team, and what they showed tonight is a sign what they've done for the last couple of weeks. They make starting pitchers work. They're working deep counts. This is a very, very tough lineup to go through 1 through 8.
I think of the Wizard at shortstop making those plays in the infield over and over, the incredible plays. I'm not sure an outfielder has made more incredible plays during his career than Jim Edmonds. He's had some unreal catches, and he's done this before in Houston as well. Back on July 8th, 2006, member of the Cardinals. Look at that one. I mean, he was all the way up to the wall there. He bites it a little bit, grabs a little turf with him, but this one was even better than the one he made tonight.
Well, you know, Luke, good players are good players, and he may be up in years and may have lost a little bit. His bat speed may have slowed down, and he might not run or move quite as well as he did 3 or 4 years ago. But a good player is a good player, and it's been in there, and I think that's one of the things you have to accept as a Cub fan. Felix Pié, without question, seems to be the center fielder of the future, but he's not advanced enough offensively. Now, defensively, he's as good as anybody in baseball, but you get a little bit of experience. You have a guy that has done this before in Jim Edmonds, and I think you're going to see a guy. I don't want to say it's his last chance, but he's going to a team, a first-place team that's a good team, and I think he wants to fit in and be a part of this, and it doesn't surprise me that he's gotten off to this kind of a start. He's a good player.
When Edmonds made that catch in 06, Jason Marquis was the pitcher cheering him on the Cardinals at that time. Time now for our Feldco star of the game. Could have been Geovany Soto, could have been Jim Edmonds. We'll give it to Carlos Marmol, who came through big time, bottom of the 8th in a clutch relief role here. Nobody out, 2nd and 3rd. Gets the pop-up for the first out. Nobody advances, no run in. But here's where the real trouble comes up. Now you got Lance Berkman, the hottest hitter in baseball, almost hitting 400, and he strikes him out. And Carlos Lee, the Cub killer, grounds to 3rd. Ramirez the throw over to Lee. Carlos Marmol gets out of it without a single run crossing the plate. An outstanding job.
Well, what makes him so dangerous and one of the best relief pitchers in baseball is the fact that, you know, getting outs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning is a very tough thing to do. But he adds a dimension that the top flight relievers can do, and they can strike some people out. That was a huge strikeout of Lance Berkman. Now, you're talking about there's a lot of things that can happen. A little soft sacrifice fly, hit a ground ball, you're playing the infielders back, and that turns into a 1-run game. And you can't take away from the fact that he can strike people out. It doesn't necessarily have to be that all relief pitchers have to strike people out, but it's a great weapon to have that you can get out of a jam without somebody putting the ball in play. And he's just a dominant, overpowering relief pitcher. And I'll tell you what, this Cub bullpen looks really good right now.
Not just a fly ball with the way his stuff's so filthy, just a wild pitch scores. He could throw it all over the place.
And no matter what kind of stuff you have, you know, every dog has their day, and he paid the price Saturday in a game where he gave up a home run to McLeod, but that's going to happen. When you run out there as a reliever between 60 and 70 times a year, there's going to be a handful, 4 or 5, that no matter what you do, the wheels are just going to come off, and that's just the way that baseball is. And if you always said there's no justice in baseball, it's just us.
All right, time for our first break on Lowe's Cubs postgame live. As we go to break, let's check out that Pontiac opinion poll tonight. Which National League Central team has had the most surprising start? Is it the Cubs, the Cardinals, the Astros, or the Brewers? Log on to ComcastSportsNet.com, click that link to Chicago, and then cast your vote. We'll have results later in the show. Cubs cooled off Jason Bay, 3 for 25 in the last 7 days. Went 1 for 9 at Wrigley. Hanley Ramirez signs a new contract Saturday while going 4 for 25. And Randy Wolf, he isn't howling right now. 0-2 last week in ERA of almost 9. Time for our pitching recap here on Lowe's Cubs postgame live. Ted Lilly against Brian Moeller. Lilly went into this game having won his last 3 appearances. He had 22 strikeouts in his last 2 starts. Now, he only lasted 5 1/3 tonight in this one, but he held the Astros just 2 earned runs, had 96 pitches, was a lot in 5 1/3, Dan, but he pitched pretty well.
Well, when Ted Lilly's throwing the ball really well, even tonight, the numbers look a little bit skewed. He's going to get a lot of swings and misses. And you'll notice early on when he's elevating this fastball here, that fastball right there was set up by a couple of changeups. And I thought the key at bat in the game was he was in a tough situation facing Miguel Tejada. He threw a 0-2 fastball up and in, and then followed that up with this changeup right here on an 0-2 pitch. I thought that was the biggest pitch of the game. At that point, Cubs up only a run and facing a very good hitter and Miguel Tejada. That was a huge sequence. He set it up perfectly. A curveball for a strike, a curveball for strike 2, a fastball up and in, getting him to quicken up his bat. That set up the 0-2 changeup. Might have been the best changeup he threw all night.
What's the difference, biggest difference right now, the last 3 games for Ted Lilly compared to the first 3 games of the season?
The increased velocity. When you're pitching at 86 to 88 miles an hour like he is now and not 83 to 85 miles an hour, you have a little bit extra juice on your fastball. You make hitters have to respect your fastball. And if they can just sit on off speed, your fastball, your changeup, and your breaking pitches all are within about 7 or 8 miles of each other. There's not enough difference to throw hitters' timings off. When he's elevating that fastball like he was tonight at 89, 90, it's a huge difference.
All right, let's talk about who's really hot in baseball. Alfonso Soriano, your National League Player of the Week. Fonzie hit .516 last week with 7 homers, 14 RBI. But in this series, he goes head-to-head with baseball's hottest hitter, Lance Berkman. .396 batting average, 16 homers. We're expecting a slugfest tonight. Instead, we get 0 for 8 and 5 strikeouts between the two.
Well, you know, this game is crazy. And when you try to figure out the game of baseball from a hitting perspective, from a pitching perspective, during a 162-game season, every player is going to go through some really good streaks and a few funks and some bad streaks mixed in somewhere along there. But the good players, the consistent players, are the ones that can stay out of those, 5-6 game batting slump, pitchers staying away from 2 or 3 games where they're not really effective. And this is just one of night. And on both sides, to be fair, both guys had a lot of good pitches to hit tonight, put themselves in some spots with 2 strikes. Here, not a real good curveball from Ted Lilly, and then right here, Carlos Marmol. He's done that to a lot of lefties. The reason he gets away with those high breaking pitches like that is because his fastball has so much life that it has almost call it an upshoot. It has some rise to it. His ball really has a lot of late life through the strike zone, and it's tough to lay off that pitch. So you have to get your bat started quick off of somebody like Marmol, and then you kind of get yourself tied up in knots thinking that's a fastball, and it's a slider cutting in on your hands. Tough to slow up.
Yeah, again, Marmol came in with the tying run at bat in the bottom of the 8th, got out of it no runs, and after that, the Cubs helped him out by tacking on a little bit. They didn't have to bring him in for another inning or carry wood because Aramis Ramirez came to the plate, and he delivered a little extra insurance, which is always nice. You can save your bullpen for tomorrow, and Howard gets a little work.
During the course of this season, before it's all said and done, don't be surprised if you don't see that guy right there, number 16, at the top of the RBI list for this Cub team. This guy is a tremendous hitter in the middle to late part of the game. There isn't a guy you'd like to have up. He does what all good RBI guys do. They have a knack for putting the ball in play. He fights off some really good pitches, and if he gets a hanging breaking ball like that, he'll just do that and put a good swing on it.
The strength to reach out and pull that one into left field on that at bat. There's the lineup for tonight, and Soriano, we mentioned, 0 for 4 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Ryan Theriot now hitting .333 on the season, 2 more hits tonight. A double, a run scored, an RBI. Derek Lee trying to break out of his funk. Maybe he did. 2 hits tonight, a double and a run scored. And Aramis Ramirez 3 for 5 at the plate.